Whole sports all plays.
Oh, God. Off to a hot start.
I hope not.
Just hit it and...
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode of Unscripted. Obviously, you know our next show will be Thursday, and we will be doing the draft live. Again, I said we're going to be doing the draft live as a part of the ASAP Sports Network. So you can catch Unscripted tomorrow. Pre-show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, the actual draft starts at 8. So it's going to be a pretty long escapade of Unscripted and ASAP and all kinds of good stuff. But for right now, as of today's show, Frankie's at work, so he won't be with us tonight. But we got our boy Gonzo. What's up, Gonzo? Say what's up to the peoples.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good night. Getting ready to watch some NBA basketball. Actually was watching an old Die Hard movie. I couldn't find that on TV, so I was sitting here watching Die Hard.
And then, we also have our always stable guest host. I don't know why I'm calling you guest, Logan. You have to give me I guess my mind is discombobulated right now, thinking about other things. But no, man, we got our always faithful, always my trusty cohort, my best friend, my sidekick, babyface, Logan Landers.
Jay, I think your mind's a little bit messed up because for some reason you, of all people, decided to put an Astros topic that is negative in our group chat tonight. So I think that might be where your head's at, knowing that's coming on down the road. And, maybe your mind is in Cancun with the Brooklyn Nets. Who knows?
Hey, listen, man, I have no doubt that it is. Look, like I said before, man, my team is the Astros, and I stick by them since day one. But, as a journalist, you have to be optimistic about everything, man. And sometimes your team just ain't what you want it to be. You still got to report on it. It's part of life. It's part of what we do. Logan, Atlanta, they were hot in the Tom Glavine years, and y'all went really cold for a long period of time. Now you kind of came out of dormancy with that World Series title last year, and you're not doing too bad right now. So it is what it is. And Gonzo, I think your sports team's the Reds, correct?
Yeah, they're terrible.
I think that's the worst team in the league at the moment.
They have the worst record in the league. They lost 11 straight.
What is it, like 3-14
They finally
or
got to
something?
win Saturday against the Cardinals. So
Yeah.
they're not doing too hot right now. But
Hey, but on the bright side, you got the number one pick so far. So
yeah, but they'll find a way to mess that up.
yeah.
What's interesting to me is, so the GM came out and specifically told, we're going to get to the show, but one thing I didn't put in there that I just kind of seen it was, the GM told Darnold, you are a quarterback this year. You're going to be the guy. And then he kind of, a little time goes by, and as we get closer to the draft, literally a couple of days before the draft, he comes out and has another conversation with Darnold and says, hey, by the way, we're going to take a quarterback. Don't take offense to it because you're not even that old yet, and we should have a plethora of 10 years with you. But since we clearly don't believe in you, we're going to go ahead and draft a quarterback. But don't worry. Don't worry. It's not like he's coming for your job. Gonzo, do you believe that for 1 minute?
No, he don't believe it. Darnold don't either. I mean, at least I hope he don't. Anybody that has a brain can't believe that. They bring somebody in and they think he's going to be. They think he gets out in that practice field and looks better than you. They're going to yank him. They're not going to give Darnold. They're not going to give Darnold too much longer there, or they wouldn't be already talking about replacing him after one season last year, where he had some injuries and stuff. If they really believed him, they'd at least give him one more season before it was to talk about trying to ship him out of town.
Because let's be honest, with all the needs that Carolina has, a quarterback right now is not necessarily, if you really believe in Darnold, that's not what you're going to do. But clearly in my mind, and I think in your mind, it sends Darnold mixed messages of, hey, you're the guy, and I told you you're the guy, but we're going to put somebody behind you just in case.
My thing is, who are they going to get that's better than him that's out there right now?
Yeah, I mean, Malik Willis is probably the best, probably most pro-ready quarterback in the draft. And I think he'll be there when Carolina drafts, but do they take him that high? I don't think I would personally. They just have way too many other needs, especially with Baker Mayfield out there that they could possibly trade for or whatever, but I don't even think that's going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like a guy like Willis, I think he could eventually is going to be good, but I think he's going to be a guy that's going to take two or 3 years.
Oh, yeah, I think he needs a little bit of polishing before you completely throw him out there, for sure.
I mean, yeah, they could get Baker, but I don't think we really know what Baker is either. So, I mean, you just be getting another quarter replacing Darnold with another guy. You don't know really what you have.
Exactly. And personally, I think about Carolina, I don't think I trade for Baker. I think I'll wait for the Browns to release him. And then I think I just go snag him up at a low price, personally. Logan, what you think about this whole Darnold situation? We sending mixed message, or is GM sending mixed messages to him?
Bro, Carolina's got a lot more problems than at quarterback. I mean,
of course.
They look good. What were they like 4-0 coming out the year last year, looking good. We all thought they were going to have a really good year. And then Sam Darnold wasn't playing too good. And then they were bringing in Cam Newton off the streets. And then they were bringing in, who is it, PJ Washington or Walker, one of the two from the XFL or wherever. And McCaffrey was hurt. The defense wasn't that good. I mean, there's a lot more problems than just them at quarterback. Is Sam Darnold or Cam Newton or Malik Willis or whoever they draft, is that going to turn this team around automatically? No. They have to have a good draft consistently to turn this around. I know, they got Gilmore, right, the other week from the Patriots. That was a big get. But it seems like the pieces are kind of falling into place, but there's still a good amount of holes they have to fill in order for them to even start competing for the NFC South. Let alone, us even thinking about them making a playoff run or anything. And I totally agree with you. And as for Darnold, I mean, I don't know if they're going to stick with him this year. Obviously, we'll see tomorrow or on Thursday in the draft. Because I mean, if they don't draft a quarterback, they're going to stick with him this year. It looks like. But I mean, like Chris was saying, if you draft a Willis, a Pickett, or whoever. I mean, they might not be that good, or they might be bums. They might not be good. They might be good in 2 to 3 years. Or you could suffer, in a way, with Sam Darnold for another season, see if he can maybe turn it around, But, yeah, Carolina's still got a lot of issues. It's not just a quarterback position, but that is a big hole for sure.
No, and again, I totally agree with you. I just think, man, right before the draft, talk about sending some mixed signals to the guy that you said was your supposed guy you're going to be committed to. I don't know.
It don't matter who you have at quarterback if you don't have an offensive line so he can be on his feet.
Believe me, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
That's their biggest problem is their offensive line.
Oh yeah, and there's no question in my mind that you're absolutely correct on that as well. I mean, like I said, they got a lot of freaking needs. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into the playoffs, man. How crazy has it been, man? Lots of surprising teams that are emerging out of it. A lot of teams we thought that were going to be great are kind of just going by the wayside. Milwaukee right now had another blowout of the Bulls at 119-95. So now they're up 3-1 right now in the series. Probably going to close it out here next game. I don't think the Bulls have another shot at it. I got an Amber Alert on my phone, like I was telling the morning show, that I think that DeRozan and Levine have both gone missing, and they are currently putting out an APB to try to find them because clearly going 8 for 18 and 8 for 20, you're clearly being missed. That's 16 of 38 shots. Come on, man. Come on. And then you got Vucevic going 5 of 14, and Caruso gets you 0. But then again, it looked like Caruso kind of got hurt in that game as well. I just feel like, Giannis, he had a good game, 32 points, 17 rebounds. I mean, you can't – but I really think the true hero – I mean, outside of Giannis, I think the true hero for the Bucks, and I think going in the next series, because they're going to have to play the Celtics. I guarantee it's going to be Milwaukee and Celtics. And Pride, for whatever reason, he'll be determined to think the Bucks are going to beat the Milwaukee. He thinks the Celtics are going to beat the Bucks. I don't see that personally happening. But Grayson Allen, let's talk about Grayson Allen, man. This guy is just playing phenomenally good basketball. Just phenomenal. And I really think he's going to be the guy. While Middleton is nursing that injury of his, he's stepping up. And I think if he continues to hit these three-point shots against the Celtics like he is hitting against the Bulls, this is going to be a very hard series for the Celtics to win. The Bulls were outscored by 54 points in the last 2 games. And we call them not pretenders, when I clearly say that they are. I don't know, man. Hey, 38% shooting and they're not pretenders? Give me a fucking break. Gonzo, what do you think, man?
Well, back to the Bulls for a second. I think one of their big problems, like with DeRozan, he's had one good game, and all the other games he's been back to the tentative DeRozan that you saw in the playoffs in Toronto. Not one,
right.
That one game, I think he only took like 8 shots the whole damn game. I mean, and he don't do that in the regular season. Go back, I bet you can't find more than maybe 2 regular season games that he's only ever put 8 shots up in his whole career. And you get in the playoffs and you only put up 8 shots. So yeah, DeRozan played great all season, and to me, he shrunk in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just feel
Grayson Allen, I understand what you're saying. Grayson Allen, he's playing good in this series, but he's not. I don't think he's going to be 15 foot open against the Celtics, be getting them wide open 15-foot look for threes where there ain't nobody around.
Though. But you know what though? I think if Giannis is hitting the paint, they're going to collapse down on him. Then you got Brook Lopez, the same thing with him, and then you got Drew Holiday. I mean, I don't know, man. I think he will. I think he will find space. I think he will get his open shot. I mean, because if you double down on Grayson Allen, well, now you're leaving Giannis up even more. Or same thing for Drew Holiday. I mean, it's going to be very hard for them.
I think they're going to be smarter. I think they're going to be smarter in the Bulls instead of rushing Giannis all the way out at the 3-point line. Build your wall around the free throw line. That way he can't drive. He can't just blow by you all the damn time. I don't know. Dare him to shoot that 3-pointer. If he hits 6 3-pointers and beats you, hey, tip your hat to him. He deserves to win that game.
But that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what Grayson Allen is doing. He's hitting 5 out of 6.
High up on Giannis, in my opinion.
Right.
Give him space. Try to turn him into a jump shooter, like they used to do LeBron. Try to make him take jump shots. Don't let him try to get to the rim. That's the same thing you got to try with Giannis.
Right.
It's easier.
I just feel like as long as Grayson Allen is hitting, I feel like as long as Grayson Allen is hitting above 50% at the 3-point line, which obviously he went at 6 of 7 last game, which is better part of 75%. I mean, I don't know, man. I think they're definitely not sweeping them. That's for sure.
He'll get some open looks, but he ain't gonna get the consistent open looks like he's getting against the Bulls. The Celtics defense is just a lot better.
Also, too, with Levine going into health and safety protocols, it ain't looking too good.
No,
it's up to DeRozan and the whole Vucevic for them to pick up the slack. This is where it really hurts. You don't have Lonzo on the team right now, where he's hurt, and you mentioned Caruso. He's been having some nagging injuries, and it's looking like fate's almost done with the Bulls this year.
Do you think DeRozan gets like is nervous, or he plays different?
Well, because he scored 40 in like the first game or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think just I don't know. It might have just been the Celtics or the Bucks defense. I mean, they're a pretty good defensive team too.
Yeah, because to me, his body language just isn't the same like it was earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are gonna. if the Bucks don't take this game, the next game in game 5, they're definitely gonna take it in game 6. I mean, they're like I said, they're up 3-1 right now. It's pretty much a done deal. But you never know.
So then we kind of move on down to the Golden State versus Denver series. And again, it's just another blowout of one team versus the other. Golden State obviously up 3-1. And Denver did get the latest win at 126-121. So they did show some signs of life. And of course, Poole didn't have a good game. He went 3 of 10. So, I really think that's kind of what hurt them was Poole's poor shooting game. But because everybody else shot the ball well. I mean, Curry had 33 off the bench, 3 of 11 at the 3-point line. But Joker played pretty well, 37, 5, and 5. So I think Highland and Cousins contributing off the bench for 25 points really gave that spark to Denver versus Golden State. But, of course, they're not going to be able to keep that the whole time. But I got to give Joker his props, man. Listen. If they don't give him MVP, man, there's something seriously wrong with the way they're looking at the MVP conversation then. Gonzo, what do you think?
No, I think that game the other night was more about the Warriors just didn't play very well. And the Warriors still had a chance to win that game. I mean, the game was tied with, a minute and a half left in the game, and then the Warriors went 0 for 3, and they went 3 for 3 to score 7 points to win the game. But the Warriors' defense was terrible that whole game. Like you said, Poole had a bad game, and the Warriors were still there and had a chance to win that game. And if they just cut down on turnovers, they probably would have won that game. So I'd see the Warriors closing it out next game. I mean, I don't see Denver being able to mount a comeback against the Warriors. I think the Warriors are probably if Devin Booker don't get healthy, I think the Warriors are going to be coming out of the West. I had the Suns with Booker hurt. That scares me. I think might be lucky to get out of this series with the Pelicans.
Yeah, just a rough shoot night for the Warriors. Like I said, defense wasn't there. You can't really stop Jokic. He's kind of like Giannis at this point, where you can't really stop him. Only one who can is if he has a bad shooting night. So I think the Warriors are still going to wrap this up. Like you said, off night from Poole. If he's hitting, then that team might go pretty deep in the playoffs.
Right.
Like you said, Curry didn't have the best night shooting either. It was just a rough game for him. Like I said, they lost by 25. But I think that, obviously, I think Golden State's going to come away with this series. But at least, at least you can hold your chest out and say we didn't get swept.
Hey, and that's true. But I just sometimes. Yeah, and I think, given the team that Joker has and given the injuries that they had to most of their stars, they're playing phenomenal. They're playing as competitive as they can play, to be honest with you. And like you said, they didn't get a sweep, and that's the biggest thing right there. Draymond was telling the crowd, I thought it was kind of funny when the Warriors were actually up in that before they came back, Draymond was telling the crowd in the fourth quarter, y'all know what time it is. And then he starts saying, come on. And of course, as we know, then that didn't happen. And I really like that Austin Rivers got the key block at the end. Joker found Barton with 8.3 seconds left. And like I said, Joker's really good at facilitating, scoring, and so forth. And of course, Barton did hit that 3-point dagger. And I just think the like you said, the Warriors got comfortable and the Nuggets were still fighting. And of course, that's how the series went. As we move on, then we got the Heat and the Hawks. Again, another blowout type of deal. The Heat are just killing the Hawks. And Logan, I know that's your boys, man, but right now the Heat are up 3-1, and it ain't looking good for Atlanta. Like Pride was saying, it is kind of a little bit more of a boring series right now. Vincent and Strus outscored Young and Herter, and that's saying something. When your best stars are getting outscored by their bench players or their role players, that just kind of tells you how that series is actually going. Atlanta had bad passing, poor shot selection at times, and they just looked, I hate to say it, Logan, but they looked like a college team. And I think the mentality of Miami is just beating them all the way around. And they just ultimately, I think the Heat disappeared in the second quarter with 15 points. Granted, it is Miami, but they didn't have Landry either, which I thought was another compelling fact. There was no Landry. And when Young is going 3 for 11 for 9 points, I just don't think you can really expect much more from the Hawks. And I just think that I think they're done. I think 4-1, and we're out of here. What do you think, Gonzo?
Logan, you can go ahead and go since he just called your team.
My bad. I'm sorry,
I was about
Logan.
to say, Jay, if we're a college team, then the Rockets are a high school team because at least we made the playoffs.
Hey,
But-
I can admit it. No. Hey, that's a good point. Hey, right now we're rebuilding. I will tell you, we. I don't know
Take
for
a
high
shot
school.
every time you hear that word, Gonzo.
No. We are high school because we did beat Chicago too, so we're good.
Ouch. If anyone out there is a Chicago Bulls fan, don't want to hear that. I know. But, I mean, it's tough. I knew coming into the series with Capella being down, it was not going to be easy. I mean, they're killing us on the boards every night. I mean, Trey's trying to do everything in his power, but he just can't. Not getting as much help from Kevin, from DeAndre, from all of them as you'd need. Collins, who still has that nagging injury, right? It's just rough, but sometimes you have seasons like that where you come off of a really good 2021 season, hoping things can get better in 22. But sometimes, you just don't live up to those expectations. But, I mean, hey, if this is it, if this is the final game tonight, I can at least say that they got through the play-in games and they at least made the playoffs. So, small victory there. Not as good as I wanted to, obviously, since they were, I think, a 4 seed last year. But going into the offseason, going into the draft, hopefully they can maybe get some new pieces because they didn't do a whole lot last year. So we'll see what they can do in that regard and try and re-up for 2023. But we'll see what they can do. Like I said, hopefully they can get the win tonight and continue the series for a little bit longer. But Heat are a very good team. There's a reason they're number one team in the East.
Before Gonzo gives his take, I have a question about these Hawks. What happened to the Hawks? Last year, they were just playing phenomenal in the playoffs. This year, they just looked like a completely different team, and they didn't really change out anybody. So what's happened to them?
Well, like I mentioned, just injuries, and then also just the defense has not been
And
there
they said
this
their
year.
defense hasn't been what it was last year. This
And
year,
I mean, and plus Trae Young said, I think after the other night's game, he said he hasn't been guarded that heavy since high school. So that just lets you know how good of a defense Miami has. And I mean, really the whole year, because I mean they've pretty much been the 1 seed the whole season.
Considering that fact that Young is the number one scorer in total points for the year. That's
I mean they're shutting him down, and the other guys around him can't do much to help him out. And that just that's just a testament to how good Miami's been this year. Not really to how bad Trae Young's been this season either. Because like you just said, he led the league in points and assists. So obviously we know he's a very good player. But it's just Miami as a team who has Tyler Hero, who's probably going to be the 6th man of the year, and along with everyone else on that team, which is a really good team effort. It's just they have a lot of momentum right now. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Miami keeps going deep into these playoffs because they've looked really good. Like I said, there's a reason they're the 1 seed, and they're playing like it right now as a team.
I think they're a bad matchup for the Hawks.
It's not
because they got the 3 or 4 so physical guys that they can put on Young.
Right.
And like you said, where he made them comments the other night about he hadn't been guarded that heavy since high school. It reminded me of what the Raptors did to Curry when all the players got hurt in the finals and they played that boxing 1 on Curry. And then you got to hope your other guys are hitting shots, and the Hawks just don't have the shooters right now that are hitting those shots when Trae can't get his shot off. But yeah, I agree with you.
I agree with that.
With Miami's defense, nobody wants to play them right now in the playoffs.
Right. No, Miami's a tough team.
Yeah. So then we kind of move on to the Suns and the Pelicans. But now we're getting a little bit more interesting because the series clearly is tied up at 2 apiece. The Pelicans thoroughly manhandled the Suns pretty well at 118-103. Paul, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. He's got 43 assists and 4 turnovers this series. So he's doing his job. But I think not having, like you said, not having Booker there, not having that other playmaker is just putting a lot on Paul. And I think it clearly showed with Alvarado and Jones just giving him fits. Matter of fact, to the point where Alvarado gave Chris Paul an 8-second violation, and that almost never happens with Chris Paul. Jones, on the ground, I thought it was kind of funny because he was on the ground. Chris Paul offered him a hand to get up, and Jones basically gave him the F you, no thank you, and then waited for his teammate to come over there and give him a hand up. And it just kind of shows you the competitiveness, the rivalry, how much they don't like each other. It really is. It is something else. And the Suns, I just think they got out of rhythm. and they just never quite found it. I think definitely Alvarado is he's like a little pest out there, and he's playing great defense, and he's doing what they brought him in for. I think Jones, again, just pick it in their pockets. Several times he picked their pockets, and the Suns' shooting was horrible. 32 of 10 from the free throw line. But here's the deal, too, and I kind of agree with Monty Williams on this. And of course, this is where Michael Canseco, the debacle of what a foul was, kind of came into play. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. No, we're not going down that rabbit hole. But this is where the debacle came in, where he could understand. The guy clearly pushed him over. He's on the freaking ground, but yet no foul was called. And I don't understand that. It's clearly visible. Everybody saw it. I saw it, and I'm from my couch and I'm seeing it. There's no way an official doesn't. I just think when you look at the disparity of the free throw lines and how many times that the Phoenix Suns went to the free throw line versus what New Orleans went at 32-10 ratio, it just kind of shows you that the reffing wasn't necessarily all that great or even that fair to the Phoenix Suns, because you can't tell me that the Phoenix Suns don't drive to the basket. It's crazy. Gonzo, your thoughts?
There's no excuse for Chris Paul to only have 4 points in the game, whether Booker's playing or not. If Booker's playing, right, you're getting more than 4 points. He was facilitating, but especially with Booker out, if he don't get in double-digit points, they're in trouble.
Exactly.
And their defenses look terrible.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram can basically do whatever he wants. They can't stop nobody from getting to the rim. I think they might be in some trouble, especially if they lose tonight. I think they're in big trouble. But I think the Pelicans have found something.
Yeah, I think
Ingram's playing with confidence, and I was never an Ingram fan. I was like, man, I don't know. I think he's a little overhyped, but now he's starting to show why he was that hyped up when he was coming up. I think he's finally reaching his potential.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. Logan?
Yeah, I mean, the Suns just have kind of fallen off a cliff ever since we learned that Booker was going to be out for a few games. Hopefully he's going to come back for game 5. And they can get things rolling again. But like you said, just a bad night overall for the Suns. Couldn't get the offense going. Defense was non-existent. And, credit to the Pelicans not giving up, having that kind of scrappy mentality. And evening up this series when a lot of people thought that it was going to be pretty much a blowout, but here we are, tied 2-2, and I mean it's even now. I mean it's pretty much 0-0 at this point because the next 2 wins move on, and it's going to be very interesting to see how both these teams come out. Because I mean the next game you're going to be back on the ropes again. You don't have 2 games to afford. If you lose one, you got to come back and win it again. So we'll see. I mean there's a reason that Monty Williams is one Coach of the Year. And, as for the Pelicans, I mean, like I said, they're a really good team, really young team. But if, maybe they can pull off a major upset there as an 8 seed and potentially knock out the number 1 seed Suns. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, we're pretty much even again.
Oh, by the way, I did want to point out that I believe Booker is also out tonight, correct?
Is he? Okay.
I believe Booker is also out for game 5. He was supposed to be out just games 3 and 4.
Right.
Out for tonight.
Yeah, so he's out. And guess who's out? Who else is out for and this is actually the reprieve for the Hawks is your boy Butler. Butler's out with an inflamed knee. So he's out for tonight. So this could be the opening of the Hawks knee.
I didn't know that, and I took the Hawks on a bet today.
Well, hey, you might get it because there is no Butler tonight, so that might be what they need. Now, of course, the score is 18-18.
They were giving me 7 points. I thought the Heat would win, but I think it was going to be a 3-4 point game. They were giving them 7 points. Like, yeah, I'll take it. Take the 7
Yeah,
points.
I would too, because right now the score is tied up at 18 with 2:37 left in the first. We're going to move on real quick to the Nets and the Celtics. Of course, as you know, that series is now over. The Celtics closed it out 116-112 for the 4-0 sweep. And I'll tell you, man, hey, there's not really a whole lot to say about this. You can say that, as Frankie says, Durant is a bum and is slowly losing his ground as one of the best players in the league. Maybe Jason Tatum is now overcoming him. slowly but surely is stifling defense. Just Durant couldn't handle it for obvious reasons. But you can say, look, the Nets got poor leadership, bad shooting, missed free throws, and poor defense. And I think the first one is the biggest dagger of all, poor leadership. And when you got poor leadership from their general manager all the way through the coach and then into your star players, you're just not going to do anything. They played ISO ball. They really did not put any kind of offense out there in terms of sets. You just can't win like that, and especially not against the Celtics. And it just shows that Steve Nash is not ready to be a head coach. Maybe an assistant coach. I would give him as an assistant, but definitely not a head coach. You got to have experience, especially when you're leading a group of stars like a Kyrie Irving or a Kevin Durant. You're going to have some sort of leadership about you, and he just does not command it, nor does he know how to make adjustments or even get his offense going. So, yeah, the Nets have a lot to really figure out going into next year, but clearly this just was not their year. Gonzo.
All they did, they brought Nash in, brought him in as the face of the team. I don't think he makes hardly any decisions, to be honest with you. I think that GM or owner somebody signed off on, and they were letting Kyrie and Durant run that team. They run whatever offense they wanted to run,
right?
And Nash basically was a puppet. He does what they're telling him, or the GM's telling him, or whatever. Right? Because for one, hiring him didn't make no sense. Bringing in a guy that had no coaching experience to coach a super team that you're trying to put together, because you're going to have somebody that demands respect, especially with all those egos. And if you listen to Kyrie talk, he said multiple times, we don't need no coach.
Right. Exactly. I really think
that was the biggest problem. But the biggest problem is they don't have a leader. They don't have a true leader on that team. Yeah, Durant's a great basketball player, but he's not a leader. Irving's proven he can't be a leader. He hasn't been able to do anything since he left LeBron. So, I mean, they don't have that true leader on that team. For a playoff team, like for the Heat, for example, when they went on that run in that bubble, they didn't have a superstar, but they had a good leader in Jimmy Butler that got that team to gel and play hard. You have to have one of them guys like that, and they don't have that guy.
I just feel like anytime you have a player-driven, team without really having a true coach that puts his thought process into the team, the Lakers and the Nets aren't that far off of each other in that respect, that LeBron and AD and Westbrook thought they could just do whatever. And, and of course, Vogel just had really no true voice in that team, and really upper level management didn't either. And the same thing with Brooklyn. Nash didn't have a voice. Their upper level management didn't have a voice. And if you look at both of the squads, neither one of them produced anything out of fruition. Logan, your thoughts?
I think they've overworked Kevin Durant and they've underworked Kyrie Irving. I mean, Durant's out there every single night, say what you will about him for his poor shooting and everything. So, I mean, he didn't have a great series. There's no doubt. But, I mean, At least he's been out there every single night for 40-plus minutes a game. I mean, that's what happened last year when they lost to the Bucks. He was dead tired. He played like 15 minutes or something in the final closeout game. He had no legs to him. And then you got Kyrie, who hasn't played more than 70 games since 2016 in an 82-game season except for COVID year.
Right.
And I mean, he said the other day, it's like, I wonder what I could have done to go back to October or something. It's like, well, I can think of one reason, but it is what it is. I mean, they just sucked. I mean, they were the only team to get swept in this whole playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
The only team. And this is supposed to be a team in the preseason. I know they had Harden, but this was supposed to be a team that was supposed to get to the conference finals, supposed to get to the finals. They got knocked out in round 1 as a 7 seed. So take it with a grain of salt. That trade they made in the middle of the year for Seth Curry and Drummond, all that didn't do nothing, obviously. Anthony said 1 to 5. What tier would you put Kyrie? I don't know. I guess 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. We're gonna go
right.
with.
That's how I would put it too.
I don't know. I mean, he's a great player, but I wouldn't put him in that 1 seat just because he doesn't play as much. He don't play every single day.
I just don't think he has to be with somebody that can he respects enough that can keep him in check like a little bit like LeBron.
And like Gonzo said, he has not gotten out of the semifinal round since he left LeBron.
And truthfully, because Kyrie does not have leadership skills, I can't put him in tier 1. I only put true leadership megastars in tier 1. Without leadership, you know what I'm saying? Without leadership, I can't put you as a number 1. It automatically kind of puts you as a number 2 on your team because of lack of leadership. So you almost got to think Kyrie is a number 2, a really good number 2.
I still have it as Kevin Durant number 1, Kyrie number 2.
Absolutely.
I mean, say what you will about his, like I said, he didn't play the best this series, but Kevin Durant played a lot more in the season.
I was going to say that. I have all these people jumping on Kevin Durant, talking about, he's terrible.
Right.
Go back. And almost every star's had a bad playoff series.
Right. I mean, if you base the tiers off of ability, I would put him tier 1. If you base it off of leadership, I'd put him at about tier 3. If you base it off overall, I think he's in between the 2 and the 3 in terms of tiers.
I mean, we've all said that Steve Nash got outcoached 1,000%.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's facing a Greg Popovich. I mean, the coach for the Celtics, this is his first year too.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, Steve Nash is a Hall of Fame point guard, right? So obviously he didn't do nothing to change his mind. I looked at it last Thursday or Saturday. I looked at Cancun trips and they booked it. They're going there now. And this was a failure of a season. The big 3 they formed is a failure. The Ben Simmons fiasco is already just out the window. Jay, I found something about Ben Simmons, right? We all remember that horrible wreck that Tiger Woods was in, right? Tiger Woods broke both his legs, recovered, and played in the Masters a few weeks ago before Ben Simmons even touched the court. Again.
Yeah.
So, there are rumors he was going to come back for Game 4. Obviously, he didn't. I thought there was really no point. But, I mean, if you say you're able to come back and you still don't do it, what are we missing here?
Yeah, what are we really talking about?
Like, we're definitely missing something here. I mean, he says he still has a lingering back injury, but if there are reports that you're playing 5-on-5 and that you can play for 20 minutes in Game 4 of a do-or-die game and you still don't do it, why would you even say you're ready?
Maybe he must have hurt his back sitting too long on the bench, man. That's all I got to say.
Maybe too much time in the massage chair.
Jeez.
But yeah, now the Nets are in deep trouble. I don't know what their draft picks are looking like, Jay, in terms of how many they have, but I mean, I would put them and the Lakers at the same tier.
Absolutely.
They didn't even make the play in, but I mean, the Nets pretty much didn't do much better. They got eliminated first round. They didn't win a game. So I put them in the same tier.
I don't know if Simmons will ever play again. I don't know if he even wants to play, man.
You know what? It almost seems like he doesn't. Like he doesn't have that mentality that he wants to play again.
Which is fine. Hey, if you made your money, you don't want to play, but just get out. You can't.
I was about to say, don't waste.
You can't still want pay to not play.
He's been wasting the Sixers time for a whole year. He wasted the Nets whole season. I mean, he ain't getting younger.
And they traded for this guy.
They traded a lot for this dude. They gave up, James Harden for him. And I mean, I know he hadn't been the greatest, but I mean, still.
But at least he was on the court.
I'm about to say if James Harden was in these playoffs, who knows? They might have, made a series out of it. They absolutely won a game, I think.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about Harden here in a minute. So moving on right now, we're going to move on to the Mavs and Jazz. Obviously, the series is at 3-2. Mavs over the Jazz. The Jazz did come away with the Mavs came away with the win, 102-77. And the only time I ever saw any kind of fight or any kind of life out of the Utah Jazz was when Luka Doncic went up for the poster and Whiteside kind of got him on it. And then there was a little kerfuffle there underneath the rim within a few players. I think Burton was in. Bullock was in there, and Finney Smith was in there. And of course, they got ejected out of the game. Whatever. But quite honestly, that was the only time from the Jazz I ever saw any kind of any life or anything out of them, because they completely played like they didn't want to be there, or like they were just tired, or like they wanted to go home. They had no heart. They had no soul. They had no fight. Mitchell, I guess he messed up his hamstring or hurt his hamstring. Or 4:41 left to go in the fourth quarter. I don't know if that was him really hurting himself or him just saying, "Hey, look, I need to get out of here. This is embarrassing." But either way, he went 4 of 15 for 9. Gobert put up like 11 points. You know, Clarkson was the only one that really showed any sort of promise on that team, putting up 20 on 9 of 15 shooting. The only thing I really took away from this game was 2 things. 1, the Mavs are going to win game 4 and they're going to move on. 2, I should say 3 things. They get a healthy Luka. And number 3, Brunson is very much stepping up into that number 2 role right behind Luka as the number 1 because he went 9 of 20. He didn't go 9 of 20, but he put up 24 points. He had a great game.
He's leaving after this year and getting paid.
Hey, you know what? He will get paid.
They would have re-signed him already. They would have put him in contract extension, but they didn't want to, and now he's going to leave for a lot more money.
I'll just tell you this: at least for the playoffs, at least as the Mavs go through this playoffs, it's going to be Luka as your number 1, and then of course you got Brunson as your number 2, and everybody else are the role players. That's the way I see the rest of this playing out. Gonzo, your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, the Jazz are disappointing. If you look at them on paper, you would think, man, that could be a team that could actually do something. But every year they just always fall apart around this time of year. And Mitchell's not playing very well at all right now. He's missing little 4 or 5 foot shots, and not even one. And I'm not talking about ones that are real contested. Some of them he's almost wide open, and he's leaving them short. It's almost like his legs are gone, like he's tired.
Right.
I mean, like,
it was horrible.
Yep.
You know.
Logan?
But yeah, they're disappointing. I think the Mavs are going to win this series.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
The player that's impressed me in that series is that Brunson.
Yeah, he's been good.
The only thing that Jazz did for this series was keep the Mavericks warm for the next series.
Pretty much. This Jazz team, man, what's going on? Like Chris said, this team was I thought they would beat the Mavericks pretty easy. But no, here they are, 1 game away from elimination.
Right.
And especially if Mitchell don't play, they're done for.
Oh, absolutely.
Because who's going to – I mean, you expect, no offense, Jordan Clarkson and Rudy Gobert to lead your team to victory in 2 more games. I severely doubt that.
Oh, yeah. If you're counting on Gobert to score points for you to win games, you're in trouble.
You know what the worst part about all this series is for the Jazz is that Luka didn't even play the first 2 damn games. He still couldn't take a commanding lead over it.
Like I think they lost both of those games that Luka was out.
Yeah. How does that happen?
They beat Dallas the first game Luka played.
So
I'm just saying, when Luka's out and you're not controlling this series, like what's wrong with you?
Also, too, I mean, I don't watch a whole lot of Jazz basketball. I live in Georgia. I don't care to watch Utah. But I looked it up because I was curious, right? Because you mentioned that Gobert only had, 11 points or something?
Yeah, he had 11 points on 6 or 7 shooting.
So
he shot well. He just didn't shoot enough.
In his career, he's only averaged 12 points a game. He doesn't even shoot the ball 10 times a game.
Right.
I mean, he's basically.
Now, in his defense, though, Logan, he did put up 17 rebounds, so he did do.
Right.
I guess what he typically does.
Right. I know. He's a rebounder and he's a great shot blocker and all that. But especially in this, just give him the ball in the paint. You can.
Right.
Yeah. I don't understand why they
2 shots. Like, bro, this guy's 7'5" or whatever. Just get him on the block 2 inches away from the rim, and just have him dunk it. Like,
and he can move. He moves good for being as big a guy as he is.
I'm not saying I know he's not the perimeter guy, but you're not getting past him in the paint. But just give him the ball. I don't know who the tallest Maverick is on the team, but I was
that Markkanen guy. That Markkanen, or I can't. I don't. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he's like 7'3". 7'4".
He used to play for the Bulls.
Oh, Markkanen.
Yeah. He's like 7'4", 7'3", something like that. He's a tall dude. He's got the really funky Spock ears.
Yeah, so Gobert 7'1" with a 7'9" wingspan. You're telling me the guy only averages like 5 shots a game?
Yeah, it don't make no
Bro,
sense.
I don't care if you can't shoot the ball. Just give me a layup.
Right.
And that's one of the problems. They don't give the ball to him in the post, and they keep jacking up threes. And if they're not hitting their threes, they're in
They're
trouble.
done for. Yeah, and that might be what sends them home early. And I mean, honestly, is it time to blow up the Jazz?
It's
time.
absolutely,
It's
unequivocally
time.
time to blow up the Jazz.
Because, I mean, we always talk about them having some decent expectations, not really getting to the finals, but making it kind of far. And they're about to get knocked out in round 1. I don't know how they did last year, but I mean,
yeah. Truthfully, I like
for the last 4 or 5 years, everybody's been saying.
I'd probably keep Clarkson off the bench because I like him off the bench.
Clarkson.
But Mitchell, Gobert, I think it's just time to revamp this whole damn team.
I would definitely see what you can get for him. I mean,
I would
at least entertain the offer.
Or maybe even you keep Mitchell because Mitchell's actually a good player. But I think Gobert is really the one that has to go because you need a number 2 guy that can step up. I don't even know if Connolly stays because Connolly really doesn't do much. Yeah, so maybe I would probably trade Connolly and Gobert, and then I would try to revamp my team and see what I can get for them.
Because, I mean, they have some good pieces. They do. It's just that they are not clicking together. And you gotta do something with it, or else heads are gonna start rolling, and trades gonna start flying.
Well, I think heads are already rolling. To be honest with you, they're rolling.
I'll tell you what, they got.
Oh yeah, easily.
The ownership there has patience because hell, the Pacers have done 3 rebuilds in the time they're giving this Utah team.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, who owns? Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am wrong. But doesn't D Wade own part of the Utah Jazz?
Yeah,
I know he's part of one of the teams. He's either the Jazz or the Nuggets.
He owns like a small piece. He's not like, he doesn't help out.
Well, no, but I'm saying, but he has some ownership stake in the Jazz, though.
Yes.
Because I remember seeing him at the game. I mean, but even no matter how small that ownership piece is, I mean, hey, go talk to him. Go give him you got an expertise. You're an NBA champion. Go talk to him and say, hey, look, guys, this, I don't know, do something, right? Get involved in the team that you at least have some ownership in. I don't know. That's just me. We're going to move on, though. We're going to talk about these 76ers and Toronto Raptors. It is now starting to become a series. 3-2. What started out as 3-0 has now become 3-2, and Toronto has won 103-88. And Embiid is just not looking all that good right now. And going 7-15, 20, 11, and 4, not bad numbers, but then again, the team itself is shooting 38%. I just don't see a lot of effort or a sense of urgency on the Sixers' part. And I don't know if they went into cruise control and when they got that 3-0 lead and said, hey, we got this, whatever, let's just chill. But Harden went 4 of 11, and they need more from Harden. Harden going 4 of 11, and he's supposed to be the number 2 guy, is not going to work going forward, even if they get past Toronto, which I do think they get past Toronto. But if Harden doesn't start to take a bigger ownership role in this team, they're not going to go far. And let's be honest, like we said, like I told him on the morning show, Doc is the only coach in NBA history to blow 3 3-1 series leads. I'm just saying, folks, 10 turnovers in the first half. Are you kidding me? 10 turnovers in the first half. How's that ever going to get the 76ers where they got to go? Doc, your days are numbered. I think you should retire if you don't get a championship, which I don't think you will. I think you should retire before you get fired, but you are clearly done. And Embiid is clearly not the MVP of the NBA. It still belongs to Joker. And Harden, you better wake the hell up.
No.
Gonzo.
They better not be worrying about no championship right now because they might not get past the Raptors.
True.
With
Very
Embiid
true.
getting hurt, Embiid's hands bothering him. You can tell that hand's bothering him.
Yeah.
If nobody else is going to step up, they could be in trouble.
Right.
Like you said, Rivers is blowing them 3-1 leads. He might blow a 3-0 lead this time.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll tell you what, the game for tomorrow is going to me is real important because if the Raptors win that game, I think the Raptors are going to win the series.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree with you.
Because
and the weird thing about it is Van Vliet's not even in the game.
All the pressure would be on Philadelphia going in that game 6.
Right.
Yeah, you know
but
what I mean?
Toronto's not even playing with Van Vliet. Van Fleet's actually on the hurt list, so they're playing without one of their key role players.
Or I meant Game 7. If they can win Game 6, I think they'll win Game 7.
I believe that too. I do. I really think if Toronto takes this next game, it's going to get really, really interesting for Doc and Embiid and everybody else. Truly. And how bad is this going to look on Embiid? How bad is it going to look on Harden? How bad is it going to look on Doc if they don't do what they're supposed to do?
I think it'll look the worst on Doc just because he's the coach. Embiid will get a pass because he's already hurt. They said that he shouldn't be playing already with that injury. But he's gonna, he's fighting through it.
I've heard rumors that something's broken in it.
Yeah, it's something.
He has a torn ligament in his thumb.
Yeah,
he's got a torn ligament in his thumb.
That they said that should require surgery, and that he'll get it as soon as the playoffs are over. But he's gonna try and do it. But I mean, what is it we see every year? The Sixers get all this hype, and they don't do nothing with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still a lead, but they should have won this series 2 games ago. They should have swept this team. I mean, I don't see it. Doc Rivers is not the great head coach that everyone thinks he is, I don't think.
He just got lucky with that Boston team.
They're going to bring in D'Antoni.
No, you know what though? Hey, and I get the humor in that. The problem with Doc Rivers, is Danny Ainge built that Celtics team so well that it didn't really require a whole lot from Doc other than just giving them a few set plays and basically letting KD, Pierce, Ray Allen, and so forth go out and do what they do with Rondo at the helm. Ainge built Doc Rivers. And unfortunately, when he left that team, he got exposed for what he really is.
And also,
but Logan, your thoughts?
Yeah, also too, Jay. Just I don't see it, man. I don't see it with this team.
I don't either.
Embiid's hurt. This team was supposed to be the clear favorites in the East, but I'm just not seeing it from them right now. I'm not. I mean, Harden took a very big leap from what he was a couple seasons ago, even.
Even if they get out of this series, I don't see him.
No, I don't see him getting to the conference finals.
Nope.
But I mean, like I said, credit to the Raptors for playing hard, for getting this series almost even, and also I saw a quote that Doc Rivers said something the other day. He said that you haven't even seen our second year yet or something. I'm like, bro, where is this gonna happen? Like shouldn't this have happened whenever you had the lead 3-0?
Yeah,
I guess not.
I can't even take that seriously. I can't take that seriously.
I'm not taking this team seriously because they're not blowing teams out by 30. They're not, I don't see any part of their game where it's just they are clearly better than another team. I mean, if they go up against it, because the way it's looking, they're going to go up against the Heat. The Heat are going to kill them.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
The Heat are going to absolutely knock them out in 5 games probably because the whole Heat team plays defense. Embiid's going to get about 5 flopping calls for him. I'll give him that. But, yeah, no, I don't see him making out the next round for sure.
So, real quick, sports update before we move on to the next topic. We got Atlanta 34, Miami 28, with 7:27 left in the second. So your boys are looking pretty good right now, Logan, in the second quarter. And then, of course, Minnesota was down by 7. They have since come back and are right now up 19-17 over the Memphis Grizzlies with 3:55 left to play in the first. So, again,
run onto the court.
Grizzlies keep turning the ball over.
Yeah, man. Grizzlies are they're hey, I'm telling you, this Minnesota team is coming out of nowhere and they are playing damn freaking good.
I just can't trust Big Cat yet.
I thought they'd be
I don't know, man. Hey, listen, I get it because you don't want to invest that much emotional energy in him, but at the same time, he is kind of proving himself a little bit. Now, he did have a rough.
He put up like 7 shots in a game or something. Come on.
God was like, you're not getting a free pass from me, man. I don't care who you are.
If they can win this series, I think Gonzo will appreciate him more.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
I think so too. Right now, Karl Anthony Towns is 2 of 4. Hey, he's 2 of 4, 1 of 1 with 3 from the 3-point line, 3 rebounds, 2 personal fouls, and 5 points. He's okay.
I don't care about the points. I don't care about the field goals. You brought up those 2 fouls.
Yeah, he's got a couple of fouls on him right now in the first. And that you're right. That's the first. And that's the thing with Karl Anthony. He does get into foul trouble.
And that's what hurts him. That's what makes him shoot 7 shots a game.
Yep. I'll be the first to say he's real talented. He's just it seems like in some big moments he kind of disappears. If he can lead them back to win this series, that'll show a lot to me. And he's had some good games, but then he had a game where he just looked real tentative, and it's just the way he talks afterwards, like, "Oh well, we'll be all right. We can do what we want. We'll do it next time." I'm like, dude,
there's not always the next time. There's not always the next time. But all right, man. Hey, listen, that's kind of where we are in the playoffs. Like I said, we have Memphis versus Minnesota going on. We got Atlanta versus Miami going on. And then later on this evening, we will have Phoenix and New Orleans battling out. Real quick, Phoenix, New Orleans. Let's just give our predictions. Booker's not playing tonight. I still think Phoenix is going to come out, and I think they're going to try to atone for the last night's loss to New Orleans and come out and play strong and take this 3-2. What do you think, Gonzo? Who wins tonight?
I'm going with the Pelicans tonight.
You're going to go Nola?
I'm going to go Phoenix.
The Suns defense, they haven't been playing well, and I don't know if you can depend on Chris Paul's offense. He's going to have to be the guy to step up and score some points for him with Booker being out again. And I just like the way the Pelicans have been playing.
All right, real quick. And Pride, if you would please, give me your 3 winners for tonight and tonight's matchup. So you got Minnesota, Memphis. Who's going to win that game? You got Atlanta, Miami. Who do you think will win that game? And then, of course, you got New Orleans and Phoenix. Who do you think will win that game? So, Pride, if you would please in the comments, give us your winners for the 3 games tonight. Gonzo, real quick, I do think that Memphis wins tonight, and I do think Atlanta wins tonight. Who do you got, Gonzo?
I have Memphis winning, and then I had the Heat winning the game against the Hawks.
Yeah.
But like I said, I did put the Hawks on one of my bets at the +7. So because I thought they'd at least cover a spread, but I did have the Heat.
I'll go a little different. I'll go Minnesota and I'll go Hawks. Since no one's picked Minnesota yet, I'll go with them getting the win.
I had Grizzlies.
So you're going Memphis, Hawks, and Suns?
No, I'm going Minnesota, Hawks, and Suns.
I apologize. Minnesota, Hawks, and Suns. Okay, so there you have it. We're all pretty much in agreement with Pride, and the only one who is differing is Logan, and he's going Minnesota vice Memphis, and we shall see how great this will turn out. All right, folks. Hey, we're going to move on to Japanese Ace loses perfect streak. Holy cow. This guy who I thought was a damn robot turns out to actually be mortal and a human being. He did lose. He lost on the first pitch to the Oryx Buffaloes, who he actually, I believe, threw the perfect game against. So he is human. He threw a perfect game on April 10th, as we all know. It was the first perfect game in 28 years of the Nippon Japanese League. And Shuhei Fukuda hit the first pitch, and that's what took it out for him. But I will say this. The guy's got a great fastball at 100 miles an hour. He's got a great splitter and a great forkball. He did give up, I believe, he did win the game. So he won the game. He took even though he gave up the perfect game and the perfect, innings, he did come away with the win. 6-3 was the final. He gave up 2 earned runs. He walked 3. He hit 2 batters and gave up 6 hits on 4 strikeouts. So even though he did lose, that streak came to an end, he still had a really, really solid outing, and he did come away with the win. Gonzo, your thoughts on the Japanese ace, Sasuke?
Man, that streak is crazy. To almost go 2 complete games without giving up anything, being perfect. So
Right.
I mean, you can't fault the guy because he finally gave up something. And even like you said, when he did, he still pitched a good game.
Right.
The guy got a hit or whatever. But man, that's crazy to go that 17 innings. I can't imagine. I'd love to have been able to be like, go to all the games and watch it. What?
Oh God, yeah.
And let me ask you a question, Gonzo. And the same question will be for Logan. You've seen how good this guy pitches. We all know how good this guy pitches. Several Major League Baseball teams have been interested in him since he was pitching in high school. And so they're still interested in him. He is not available to be drafted anymore. So he will only be able to come to the MLB as a free agent, which is not a problem. Who cares? He's going to come as a free agent. So I think he makes his way to MLB at some point. Gonzo, how well do you think his game will translate to the majors?
I think they'll translate good. I don't know if he'll be quite as dominant as he has been over there, because you will. I mean, you're facing best in the world, but I do still think he'll be probably a high quality. He could be a high quality starter in Major League Baseball.
Right, Logan. Same question. Here's the deal, Logan. Lots and lots. No, I shouldn't say lots and lots. There have been quite a few Asian-born players come to the majors, and maybe one or two of them have been phenoms. And the two I'm talking about is Ichiro Suzuka and Oshie Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani.
Thank you. I appreciate the correction. Us Southerners, we don't always pronunciate those words the best, but. How I can only really say out of all the Asian-born players to come here, only those two really stick out to me as being true Hall of Famer type of guys, or really great players. The rest of them just kind of faded out a little bit. How do you put this guy? Do you put him as being successful like the other two, or do you think he'll fade kind of down, or do you think he'll just ride the the average line?
I think he'll do really good. Because he's doing this at a young age. He's only 20. Like Chris said, obviously the competition's going to be a lot stronger in MLB. I get hitting's way down this year. Like the average around the league is like 230. Mm-hmm. So that keeps up. He's going to be eating. He's going to be eating real well. But I think, because like you said, we've seen some guys, the Yu Darvishes, who've had a decent couple of seasons. Daisuke Matsuzaka, all those years ago for the Red Sox, he was pretty good for a couple of years. But I think if he comes over by the time he's 25, right? Because I don't know how long his contract's for over there. But by the time he's 25, he'll come back. He'll come over. I think he'll have a pretty good career. So I mean, there's maybe 5 at most players throw a forkball. So I mean, I don't even know if you know how to hit that. And like I say, if you're throwing 100 plus, that's already a good start. So I think he'll do fine. But talking more about his streak, Jay, I found some more stats about it here. 52 batters in a row were retired. 52. That's insane to do that. Like I say, retired 27 in the perfect game, 24 in the 8-inning outing he had the prior game before this one. And he had 33 strikeouts against 51 batters. That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane to me.
So far this season, right? He's had. Hold on, where'd it go? Oh yeah, he struck out 60 total batters so far this year. Only 13 hits and only 5 walks in 36 innings pitched. So I mean that's pretty crazy there. So I mean, there's a very high expectation for this young man. I hope he ends up coming over to the States so we can watch him globally. We can go to ballparks and watch him and whatnot. And, I mean, he is – the way it's looking, right? I mean, I know the Cubs, they picked up that one guy. I forget his name off the top of my head. They picked him up earlier this offseason. And so far he's been doing pretty good, the outfielder. But, I mean, it's looking like this is kind of the next guy up in terms of really big Japanese prospects. And I'm excited to see him. I hope he comes over sooner rather than later so we can all witness him on a bigger stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I could throw a quick shout out to Pride Pride, bring your ass on the show so we can talk some Monday Night Raw, which is the last topic of the evening. So get your butt on the show so we can talk some Raw, man. And Pride does put up Arondo Chapman's accuracy and Bumgarner. I think he will be fine in the pros. He does. He has the velocity of Chapman, the accuracy of Bumgarner, and the guy he's just between his forkball, his splitter.
That splitter he throws is wicked, man.
Yeah, because Chapman just got that fastball, and that's about it. I mean, I know he's got like
Chapman's kind of like a one-trick pony with that.
A lot better stuff, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely like a one-trick pony. Hey, here's our boy. Here's our boy on the show, man. Pride, man. I'm glad you made it on here, man, because I needed you to talk some Raw with us tonight. Since I told you to not spoil it for me on the morning show.
I didn't spoil it. I promise. I didn't say but a word.
I know, because it was freaking good.
Listen, man. I don't care what no one says. This is the best Raw I've seen in a while. Now you can call me.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, we'll get to it. We'll get to it, Jay.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge.
He said, "Don't spoil it yet, Pride. Hold your horses, or I'll have to get Michael."
We gotta save the people here for the main event. Come on, like Justin Reese, like Anthony Price, wherever the hell Davey Hernandez is.
All right, folks. Here's where this conversation kind of starts to hurt a little bit. Here's where it kind of hurts a little bit, and I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not one for making excuses, man. The Astros have really, really gone through, a transformation between last year and this year in terms of being able to hold on to their key prospects from the World Series championship team, even though you're going to call them cheaters. I don't care. Shut the hell up. Listen, right now the Astros are looking at 7-9 right now. That's what they're sitting at 7-9. But I will tell you, really honestly, they lost Greinke, which I really kind of think hurt their pitching. Pitching for them, if you watch the Astros, pitching has just been horrendous right now. The only one that's truly, really doing well is Verlander. Luis Garcia is not doing too bad. But Framber Valdez and Urquidy are just killing us. And Odorizzi's not helping a whole hell of a lot. Valdez has control issues. He's walked over 10 people, and he's only had, in his first 3 starts, he's walked 10. So if you're walking 10 at 3 starts, that's a problem. The bottom of the rotation, like I said, with Urquidy and Odorizzi, both combined for a 6.7 ERA. That's 3.6 strikeouts per 9 innings, and that is an issue. They're also not hitting the ball well either. They've struck out 111 times on offense. That's a 2.78 on base percentage. And folks, when your pitching is just not getting the job done and you're only getting on the base less than 300 of a time, you're going to lose some games, especially going against a Toronto Blue Jays or even the Seattle Mariners, who actually are on top of the West right now. And I hate Michael Delaney right now because he keeps trolling me in my messenger, and I want to just shoot him every time I see it. It is what it is. But the Astros, hey, man, I don't know if they can right the ship. The only way they're going to be able to right the ship is if their pitching somehow or another improves and if their bats can somehow or another find the strike zone. But right now, I'm not going to lie, man, the Astros are struggling, guys. We're struggling. Gonzo?
Yeah, they're struggling pretty much everywhere. Their pitching hasn't been good at all. They only hitting 209 as a team, which is 26th in Major League Baseball. So I mean, you're not being 26th in the league offensively hitting the ball. You're not going to win many games, especially when your pitching's giving up 4 or 5 runs a game as they are right now. So they got some things they're going to have to figure out.
Oh, absolutely, and I totally agree with you, Logan.
Jay, I know it hurts you to see that.
It does, man. It does.
I know it hurts too. That I know you're only a game behind the Oakland Athletics, who managed to sell less tickets than we have fans. I mean, dude.
It's not a good time to be an Astro right now, but
it's early in the year. Like I said, we're not even 20 games in. Y'all are 3-7 your last 10, not too hot. Isn't Altuve battling an injury or something? Last I heard.
Yeah, he's got an injury right now. But it's not Altuve that's really. I mean, his injury is crucial because he is a key part of the offense. But it's our pitching, Logan. Our pitching is just horrendous.
I definitely think that if this kind of trend continues to where you're right at 500, not too far above it, I think trade deadline. That's definitely your big piece you need to look for there.
Absolutely,
for pitching. Starting pitching, bullpen, whatever. And I mean, also too, like I said, you lost Correa to the Twins. That's not helping your lineup either in terms of strikeouts and averages and whatnot, on base percentages. So I mean, I'm glad that Verlander's doing good after he was out, with all that surgeries last year. So I'm glad he's doing fine. But yeah, I mean, the Astros just struggling this year. I mean, all of our teams pretty much ain't doing too good. I mean, the Braves aren't amazing. I mean, we're not doing too much better than y'all right now. We're pretty much the same record, maybe a game better. Chris is already looking at the number one pick down the barrel. So, I mean, it's just a rough start to the season, like you said, like our topic says. But I think they'll turn it around. I think they'll be fine.
I know Pride is a Boston Red Sox fan, and of course they got Alex Cora. And Red Sox aren't doing too bad right now. They're actually playing fairly decent. Rayleigh, man, what's your thought process on the Astros, man? Are they going to come out of this, or do you think that do you think that we've lost too many pieces to be competitive at this point?
Well, here's the thing, where you guys are kind of in like a weird situation is not only did you lose pieces, you couldn't really do much to replace them.
Exactly.
Like right now, and this is something that people aren't really talking about. Like when you think of Houston, people always say the cheaters, and there's gonna be people who defend them, right? Like I personally believe that it sucks. That I thought they were the best roster in baseball, and I thought they didn't have to cheat. I thought they were gonna win regardless, and honestly, them cheating didn't really solidify anything. If anything, it's just gonna make people look at them weirdly. Now the weird situation with everything is like nobody wants to go to Houston. This is something that you need to understand. Like after Dusty Baker, who had no involvement in the entire trash can scandal, he had no involvement. He went and he is one of the most beloved managers in all of baseball. When he became the manager and people started shitting on him, that's when this weird narrative that, all right, look, man, whether you agree with them or not, I don't want to go there because once I go there, my reputation, it's not going to get stained, but there's going to be some dirt on it. And it's dirt that I can't brush off until I leave. I remember when this first happened, a lot of people were asking, what is it going to take for the cheater allegations, the whole cheater brand to leave Houston? And I think guys are going to have to take the George Springer route, leave. That's what Carlos Correa did. Because Carlos Correa understood, look, bro, if I stay here, I'm going to get branded a cheater for the rest of my life. If I go elsewhere, I can begin the for lack of a better term, the rehabilitation process. Now, the problem is when you have a guy like Carlos Correa, a guy like a George Springer at the time, when you have those guys leave, it's very hard to replace it, and even harder when nobody wants to go there. Like, that's honestly the trickiest part right now for Houston that they kind of have to navigate through. Can they do it? I don't know. The lineup is still talented, so I'm not going to say this season is going to be a complete dud. Like you said, the pitching is going to be suspect all year. But you know who else has suspicious pitching all year? The Boston Red Sox. And what did that do for us? When you have a high-powered offense, you're willing to live and die by it. The Astros still have a high-powered offense. Granted, obviously you lose a big bat in Carlos Correa. But again, you still have Alex Bregman, who's still a hell of a bat. You still have Jose Altuve. Michael Brantley's batting, a 311 last time I checked? Like, he's still being able to connect. So you guys still have bats. It's just you guys are going to basically have to – and it's hard to do this for a season. But you're basically going to have to average about 5 to 7 runs to just –
Absolutely.
Because, you're –
Absolutely. You're right.
Your pitching, it's going to give up runs. Whether it's hits or walks, guys are going to get on base. That's just the reality of the situation. In terms of on-base percentage against, the Houston Astros this year, they're going to be on the bottom tier. And it's just because they're pitching right now. You need to rely on too many young guys, and you also need to rely on rotational guys being starter. Framber Valdez is not a starting pitcher. He's not.
Exactly. I agree with that. I do. Yeah. I've been saying that.
Yeah, but there's going to be times where he's going to have to start, and you have no choice.
Because we don't have anybody else.
Exactly. Like so you're gonna be in this real awkward situation where you have no choice. So I don't think that the Astros are gonna be horrible. I don't think they're gonna be dog shit. I don't think that don't panic. However, if you're a Houston Astros fan and you believe championship is in your future, no, you're not.
We've lost. I don't think so because we've lost too many pieces on pitching and we've lost too many pieces on offense for that to be an issue. But let me ask you this: I got two questions for you. My first question is number one. When you look at the Astros, or I should say the Astros. Let me back up. The Yankees, and when I brought this up, and I want to see what you think. The Yankees have now been accused of cheating as well. There's a letter, and I know you know this, Pride. There's a letter out there between Manfred and Brian Cashman that is sealed regarding cheating with the Yankees, doing the same type of thing. But the Congress or the court system has been saying, no, you can't open it. Now they're saying you can't open it. According to them, they're saying next week the letter will be opened. How do you think it's going to affect me? If this allegation has affected the Astros to where we are and we're not even the face of baseball, how is this going to affect the Yankees if it comes out that they did do cheating? How is it going to affect? Because the Yankees are some quote unquote the face of baseball. How is it going to affect them?
Brad, before you say anything, I will say, Jay, the letter has been released. Let me see if I can find it here.
I was about to say,
has it been released?
Yes, it's been released, and from what I
haven't seen it. Do you know what's in it?
Yeah, I got released.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see if I can find a quick little snippet of it here.
Yeah, so long story short, they're basically in the letter. It basically said that they were in the beginnings of the process of, in essence, mirroring what the Astros did. That's basically the overall gist of the letter.
It basically said that them and the Red Sox did the same thing, pretty much.
Exactly.
And it basically said the Astros are still doing worse, but it said that them and the Red Sox were on the same level of cheating.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so Rayleigh, my question is this, because I want to hear from you, because you're a Boston Red Sox guy, so you're Alex Cora. You've seen what the Astros have gone through, right? You've seen the ridicule and everything we've taken, and and it's rightfully, decidedly so. Right. But do you think that why is it that the Red Sox and the Yankees don't get that same backlash? Now, I credit they're not going for a World Series. But still, isn't it still the same? Cheating is cheating no matter how you look at it. How are they not getting the same backlash as what we're getting?
Mm-hmm. And because I've had people ask me this question, and honestly, the answer is actually relatively pretty simple. There's multiple components. So first and foremost, if either the Yankees will never make the World Series for like the foreseeable future because playoffs is hard for some people, so they're fuck them. In terms of Boston, we're not going to get anywhere because unfortunately our pitching is dog shit. So we were blessed to have a solid run last year. But when you get in a situation where you make the World Series and that's when people find out, that's going to amplify the situation so much worse. Like, I believe if you guys had found if the Astros won the series and then like a month into the off season that people found out they're cheating, I think the backlash would have been less. I think the fact that the timing was horrible. That's one. Two, the reason why I don't think the Yankees and the Red Sox are getting that much, for lack of a better term, reprimandation, not really from the league because we lost draft picks and we had to fire our camera guy. So we had to repercussions, but in terms of the fans, multiple reasons. First and foremost, when we got Alex Cora and he had to get fired, he accepted responsibility. It's the same thing with AJ Hinch. He accepted responsibility. He was like, look, we fucked up. It is what it is. So that makes people want to come back. When you don't accept responsibility and you do the Alex Cora route where you go, I don't care. When you do the Alex Bregman route, get over it. When you're like Jose Altuve, you can't take my MVP or my chip from me. When you approach it with that kind of, for lack of a better term, brashness, a lot of people outside of your fan base is not going to be happy with it. You know what I mean?
I get it. So my second question, my second question is this, and I just remember what my second question was. So and this is going way back in time, but the Chicago Black Sox, I'm gonna use them as an example. They basically threw the World Series for betting purposes and things of that nature. Now, eventually, which in my opinion, I think is just as bad as the Astros or the Yankees or Red Sox, doing sign stealing. They're all the same thing, right? You're fucking over the bettors. You're fucking over the whole thing. I don't know how long, because I wasn't born during that time period, so I don't know how long exactly it took the White Sox to get over, what they did. How long do you think? But obviously they were. Obviously, at some point, the White Sox got past all of that because they're not called the Black Sox anymore. Now they're called the White Sox. They're back to where I guess their status quo was. So do you think it's going to take, 10, 20, 15 years before the Astros can get back to, being the Astros?
So, first and foremost, I apologize for the cursing. I didn't realize it. I apologize. That's one. Two, again, I think the Houston, to be honest, I don't really think it's the Houston Astros name. I just believe it's the players.
So for example, let's say if Altuve left, which I think really Altuve is really the only one left. Maybe Altuve and Bregman. I think those are really the only two. And Gurriel.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Gurriel.
So you got really three guys that are really the only ones left from that.
You can't say those three guys, because guess what? Those three are your best guys. Those three guys.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is it's going to take us filtering out those guys before we get past the stigma.
Yeah, and Jay, I found a thread here saying what the Yankees did. So this is back in 2015-16, so even before the whole Astros thing. It says from Jeff Pass, the Yankees in 15-16 used their replay room to decode catcher signs on the road, used a replay room phone to relay them to a dugout phone. These decoded signs were given to runners on second base who could peek at the catcher and relay the coming pitch to the hitters, which is pretty much the same thing the Red Sox did. They're saying the Astros,
it's all sign stealing. Yeah, they just did a different version of sign stealing. We had I think the Astros had a little bit more quicker,
you were more involved,
technological way of doing it, but
right. And the thing is too, because I see it here, so if the Astros use technology to steal signs, then they relayed the coming pitch to the batters, even with empty bases, with the trash cans and everything else. So there is a difference.
That makes it. Yeah, I was about to say that's what makes it worse is the fact that
because everyone still tries to steal signs from. I play baseball.
I was about to say, because here's the thing, because I used to play baseball, and when you're on second base, that's why personally my coach, we played a very aggressive style, but that's why he wanted us to always try to go for doubles, because when you're there, your job is to, when you take your lead off, you're supposed to go past the pitcher and watch the catcher. That's your job. Your job is to see if you can pick up on the signs. It's the same thing if you're in the dugout and you're seeing, if you're seeing the third base coach or first base coach doing signs, your job is to look at it and find it out. The problem with Houston was that they were going over the top, and not only were they using technology, but they're snitching out the plays when no one's on base. So you're not even doing a good job at hiding it. You know what I mean? That's honestly why I think that's
exactly. So basically, I get what you're saying, Brian. Houston found a better way to do what you're doing. We just did it all the time, where you did it sparingly.
Well, not really sparingly. It's how you did it.
I'm saying you're saying like on base versus not on base, so that's why I say sparingly.
Right, because here's basically what happened. And I'm probably gonna try to put it as delicate as possible, right? What you guys, what let's say the Red Sox and the Yankees, right? What they did, right? We were all at the beach, right? A wave came, a woman's top came undone, and we saw peak and we smiled. What the Astros did is snuck in the women's locker room. That's the difference. That is the difference. One of us.
I hate you, Brian, but that's kind of damn funny.
I'm just saying, and one of the.
No, I get. No, I'm with you. Me and you are on the same page. I get what you're saying. Right. For me personally, I think the Astros learned their lesson. We gave up 2 damn draft picks. We gave up a lot of cash. We obviously took the humiliation. The humiliation was really the worst part. Not so much a humiliation from the players' point of view, or even what they took. As a fan, we're taking humiliation.
Yep. And that's the thing. I think And honestly, I think when it comes to the Astros, I think they understand. But at the same time, the normal fans, a lot of them will never truly let this go. Like,
Yeah,
Nah,
that's
they
what I'm
won't. They
saying,
won't.
like,
It'll always
and
be
what-
around.
and
no,
one
some
reason-
are not going to.
You know, and one reason they won't is because most people didn't feel like the Astros got punished enough.
Yeah,
So,
and that's
yeah, so
what
they're
it comes
always
down
going. There's
to,
always
you
going to
know-
be a stigma there about
you
it.
know.
But you know what? You know what I always say to that? Okay, watch this. It's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a math problem. I'm gonna give you half of the answer, but I'm not gonna give you the full answer. So it's kind of like you get half credit if you get it right and half credit if you get it wrong. Here's the deal: the Astros only do one thing. It's either off speed or it's a fastball. That's all I know. I don't know the location.
No. They know whether it's
you can know a
off-speed.
lot. Yeah, you can know a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
no.
from the sign.
Yeah, no. They know. They know the
All they
location
do from a
and the
trash can,
speed.
no, that's bullshit. Because all you know from a
No, it's
trash
true.
can, all you know
No,
from a
okay.
trash can is if it's off speed or if it's a fastball.
Okay,
You don't know
but
timing.
here's the thing. But Jay, here's why I'm telling you. Like, as a guy who played baseball, how
I get
many
it.
times you're gonna? But this is the thing. Like, how many times are? And it's rare. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But how many times are you gonna take a let's say a curve and the upper part of the strike zone? Like, how many times are you gonna take a changeup at your chest? Like, that's the stuff. Like, when they're telling you it's off speed, that can kind of give you a determination. Like, oh, off speed. Okay, so more times than us, it's not going fast. It's naturally just gonna go down.
Or
that kinda
could,
gives
well,
a little
I
bit of
get
a
that, I get that, right? But it could go down. It could go down and away. It could go down and in.
But-
You still
yeah,
gotta
but
know
just
the
knowing-
location.
I don't know.
Just
man.
knowing it's off speed gives you a big advantage as well because
Matt-
No, I'm not saying
you know
that.
the weight on the ball.
No, the only advantage the Astros had was timing. Timing. They didn't know
Which is, like, the
location, but they knew
biggest thing.
timing.
Right.
That's a
but
big
you
advantage,
can't-
though, when you're-
I mean, even if
I'm not saying it's not, but you still gotta put bat on the ball.
yeah, I mean, of course. But it
I-
helps.
You still gotta put bat on the ball.
Jay,
And
Jay,
you have to
let me
be
ask you a
low to
question,
the fan score and get it into a fair play position.
Jay, let me ask you a question. And I know we got other stuff, so I don't want to harp on this one. But let me
Yeah,
ask you a question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have put this topic out there because it is kind of personal.
Now you go, but let me ask you a question. And mind you, this is coming from a guy who thought the Astros were going to win regardless. So let me just, I want to
That's what they thought they were.
saying
That's what pisses me off too. As an Astros
I
fan,
thought they were- yeah.
I really didn't think they needed
They
to
were gonna
cheat.
win.
I thought they could beat them fair and square.
Right, but here's why I understand why people are getting upset. Because you're saying you still need to make contact, right? Let me ask you a
Right.
question. Let's say you're going to your car, right? Because let's say you got to get, you know how you got appointments in the morning, right? Because a lot of people, I don't know about y'all, I put my appointments in the morning because I want to get it out the way, right? You got to get to your appointment, right? You got to get to your appointment, right?
Yeah.
Now, what if on the way to your appointment there's a car accident and it slows everything down, right? It
Right.
slows everything down. You end up late for your appointment, and because you were late, they end up saying, "Okay, we're not going to take you. You got to reschedule." Right?
Yeah, I've had that.
What
done
if
before.
What if you knew the accident was going to happen? You were going to leave earlier, right?
I get, and that's what I'm saying. That's when the timing comes into play.
So, but that's why me, Chris, and Logan are saying, bro, like timing, bro, like that matters.
No, I get it,
Especially
and that's what I'm
because
saying.
you know
I
it's
get
an
what you're
off-speed or
saying, Pride. You get half the equation. You got half the
You
equation.
got like
You
75%
know-
because they had buzzers. They had buzzers too.
Right.
They
Okay,
had buzzers.
You guys can't a buzzer.
Don't rip off my jersey.
Hey,
Yeah,
whatever.
like
You-
he was like, "Don't do
No,
this."
what
He
I'm
talking about
saying is, though, you have, and that's what I was trying to tell you. You have half of the answer. You just don't
You
have
got
the other half.
70%
So you're
'cause the
guessing
buzzers-
at the other half.
no, because
You're
the
guessing
buzzers.
at either away or
No,
in.
because the buzzers told them the location too, bro. Depending on how many buzzers. Yo, look,
I didn't see it. Where did you see that the buzzer was telling them location?
50
Bro,
to
it was in-
75% is still better than
I'm asking. I'm not trying to be a
No,
dick.
it was in the thing. It was in all the stuff that they released. When they released the entire expose on the Astros, they said they had buzzers. That's what. Remember, when it started when Jose Altuve
So, hold
was
on,
like,
hold
"Don't get
on,
me
hold on
wet."
now. So you're basically saying the trash can gave them the timing,
part.
and the buzzer
Apart,
gave them
and then the
location.
buzzer told them the location. Now, if it's a lie, then the report is a lie. But based on how they explained it, the trash can told you whether it was like it was a tempo thing. So is it fast or is it off speed? And then the buzzer gave you the location. You remember when Jose Altuve was like, "Yo, don't put the water on me," he said he had a tattoo. After in the offseason, they actually exposed him because they had a whole they had a picture of all of them. I guess like they all went on a vacation or whatever. And Jose Altuve didn't have a shirt on. Everyone asked him, "Where's your tattoo?" That's honestly what was like the pinnacle of people asking, "Hold on, what's really going on? That makes no sense." Like you say no, people then accuse you of having a buzzer. You say don't put water on me, save the tattoo. Then all of a sudden you got a bird chest. Like something was missing. And then bro, they did that whole expose, and turns out, bro, like they were deep. And again, it sucks because they were gonna win. That's
yeah, I agree. I don't think they had to cheat or do the things that they did to get the championship. I think they would have got it. I don't think they had to do. I think they had the right chemistry. Yeah. Anyway, long story short,
Logan's gonna punch me. He's like, I'm sick of pride, bro. We got Sarah Thomas. He's gonna punch me in my throat.
All right, hey, listen, we're not gonna go into like in-depth conversations. Why? We're just gonna give our quick top 5 of who we think. And I'm gonna start bottom to top. Rayleigh, I want you to give me your top 5 draft picks, starting with Jacksonville, working your way into Detroit.
Like, who do I think that they should pick up?
You don't have if you don't know right off the head, it's okay because I know I'm kind of giving you you didn't have time to prepare, so I'm just kind of giving you it's impromptu. You know what? For you, Rayleigh, unless you just know your top 5 right of the draft, just tell me who you think is going 1 and 2. Detroit being 2, Jacksonville being number 1. And if you want to go Houston at 3, you can do so.
So, for me, I think the Jags should not pass up on Aiden Hutchinson. That's just me. I would give him I would have him go number 1. Thibodeau, I think he should go number 2 to Detroit. For I think the Texans. Which one is the third? Texans or Jets?
Yeah, Texans. So you're right. Texans are 3.
It's Texans. So Texans, I would have them get that cornerback out of LSU, Derek Stingley.
Yeah,
I would
Derek
have them
Stingley.
Get that. If not, don't be surprised if the Houston Texans are the team to be the first ones to reach for a receiver. I would not be surprised if they would, to see if they rock with Davis Mills. See if you want to give him a year, figure out what's going on. Don't be surprised. But if I'm them personally, I'm focusing on defense because that defense is atrocious. For the Jets, I would say I think both the Jets and the Giants, who are 5th, they both need offensive tackles. I would say the Jets should pick up the dude out of Mississippi State. His last name's
Evan Neal?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Evan Neal's out of Alabama. My bad.
Yeah, I think Evan Neal's a little better, but I don't think the Jets are dumb, so they're gonna take somebody else who's obviously not the best at the position they need.
Well, the two best, I think the 2 best offensive tackles or offensive linemen in the league are Evan Neal and Akeem. How am I say this right wrong? Ikwonu out of NC State.
I think Ikwonu's going to fall to number 6. He's right outside my 5. I think he's falling to the
Panthers. To the Panthers at 6.
It's what's his name? Oh my Lord. Charles Cross, that's his name. Charles Cross, that dude out of Mississippi State. I think he's going to end up being 4th, and then the Giants are going to pick up Evan Neal. However, I do think if the Jets somehow don't fumble it and they get Evan Neal, then I do see a world where Ikwonu can end up being the 5th pick. You know what I mean? But like
I would put him at the Giants.
Yeah, exactly. So if Evan Neal isn't available for the Giants, I think the Giants will obviously go for Ikwonu, which I would too. But again, I feel like it depends on what the Jets do, because if the Jets don't touch Evan, I think he's 100% going to end up falling over to the Giants.
Interesting. Logan, top 5. Let's go, baby.
Jaguars, I got Aiden Hutchinson. I know there's been talks about them getting an offensive lineman, but I feel like they still need to help out their defense, so I got them. Hutchinson, number 1. Number 2 of the Lions, they can go a few different routes. You can always, if you don't trust Jared Goff, you can go with the quarterback. I don't see him doing that, though. I think the Lions have a lot more holes to fill. I think they might go with a corner or a safety, maybe Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. For 3 with the Texans, like I said, they have a whole lot of issues. I think they'll go offensive line, help out Davis Mills because the O-line still sucks. Probably Neal or Cross, like you said. Ekwonu potentially, one of those three gentlemen. 4 with the Jets, Kayvon Thibodeau, they need an edge rusher. They desperately need someone to help get that defense in check. And then for the Giants, like I said, I think the Giants will also go with an offensive guard to help out, I guess, Daniel Jones. I mean, I guess they're going to rock with him. But, I mean, they need some help on defense too. So I think they'll go offensive line to help him out.
Nice and feisty. Gonzo, real quick, your top 5. And that wraps up Gonzo. We're going to move real quick.
We'll get to him later.
We'll come back to him. Hey, listen, I honestly think the number one.
I was trying to talk.
There you go. Hey, Gonzo, I wasn't sure if he went for a pee break. You know, you're old.
I didn't realize I was muted. Top
5, Gonzo. Let's go, baby.
Hutchinson at 1. Konku or whatever his name is at 2, offensive tackle from NC State. 3, I have Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati at 3 to the Texans, cornerback. 4, Trayvon Walker to the Jets, edge rusher. And then I agree, I like Neal going to the Giants.
Real quick,
really good. I like.
After you do yours, Jay, I have a question for you guys because I really want to hear your thoughts on it. So after you
I got you. I'm gonna come back to you. I got you. All right, you are in the books. Hey, real quick. So for me, it was really, really tough. I know the popular opinion, and let's be honest, the popular opinion will win out. It will be Aiden Hutchinson going number 1. If it doesn't go Aiden Hutchinson, I would be extremely surprised. I think the problem with Aiden Hutchinson is he has a really good motor, but I think sometimes I question his decision-making a little bit. And even though it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson, who I think the Jacksonville Jaguars should take number 1, is Trayvon Walker. Am I saying his name right? I know I'm probably saying his name wrong. Yeah, Trayvon Walker, the edge out of Georgia. I watched him throughout obviously throughout the NCAA tournament, NCAA playoffs. And I feel like Trayvon Walker would be better suited for the Jags, but I know Aiden Hutchinson is clearly on the top of everybody's radar, and I feel like he's going to get it. Not that Aiden Hutchinson is bad, but I think he's just all motor-driven and not much behind after the motor wears out. And that's what kind of concerns me with Aiden Hutchinson. But anyway, I am going to go with, because of that, I am still going with Aiden Hutchinson because I think he's going to be the popular pick. And Jacksonville always goes with the popular picks, even though Matt, what's his face? Matt, come on, help me out, guys. The dude down there in freaking New England.
Mac Jones.
There you go. Thank you. Jesus, my brain went dumb. Even though I think Mac Jones probably should have been the number 1 guy because I think he's more intelligent and I think he's a better suited guy than what Trevor Lawrence is. But Trevor Lawrence was a popular guy at the moment, and Jacksonville, for whatever reason, always goes with the popular people. And I don't know what Doug Peterson's going to do, but I have a feeling he's going to go with Aiden Hutchinson. I just do. Detroit Lions, I think they stick with Darius Stingley, the junior cornerback out of LSU. I think he's a lockdown guy, and he's going to look good in their cornerback system. I think that Holland or Davis Mills really, really needs some help. The Texans need help everywhere, and I really think the key position for anything outside of quarterback's your key guy, but he can't do shit without an offensive line. So I really think the best thing you can do to rebuild your team is start with the offensive line first and kind of go from there. So I think Evan Neal will fit nicely because of his physical style and his protection abilities. It's a no-brainer. And then, of course, the Jets, they need an edge rusher. And this is kind of where I see Aiden Hutchinson kind of falling in. And then I think the Giants need an edge rusher as well. And I think that Thibodeau – actually, I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to go Thibodeau with the Jets because even though Aiden Hutchinson has a really – no, excuse me. I already said Aiden Hutchinson. I had him number 1. God, I really think Aiden Hutchinson really belongs at about number 5 just because he has a motor but nothing else. But Trayvon Walker will go to the Jets at number 4, and it will round out with Thibodeau at number 5. But Thibodeau is a really, really, really good strategist. He has good hands, And he's just really, really a chess thinker. And I think, a lot of the really good edge rushers are guys who have the ability to play chess and are strategists. And I think that's what made Michael Strahan and all those guys so good. Lawrence Taylor, all those guys so good. They were really good at strategy. And I think Thibodeau is really, really going to shock a lot of people, but he's not going to go as high as where he should go. So for them reasons, I had the Giants taking Thibodeau, the Jets taking Walker, and Hutchinson goes number 1, even though Hutchinson is not the number 1 guy. Anyway, Pride, what were you going to say?
Looks like we lost Pride.
Question. No,
Oh, there
I'm
he is.
here.
Pride said, hell with it.
Because I have a very controversial take that some people get offended by. I believe if you draft a quarterback in the top 15, you deserve to get fired. Is Pride just being dramatic?
Like ever or just for this draft?
Specifically for this draft.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, none of these quarterbacks are really top A+ tier. They're all just kind of mid.
I think.
I agree. There shouldn't be a quarterback drafted in the top
Willis.
15.
I think he's probably the best.
I think
quarterback
Willis
in the
is the best. I think Willis is the best out of all of them just because of what he's done good at college. He did good at his pro days and everything. I think he's just the better passer overall.
But Pride, what was your comment?
So basically, my question is, let's say you draft a quarterback with the top 15 pick this year. I believe you should get fired for that. Am I being
Absolutely.
I agree. I agree. I don't think there should be a quarterback taken to about number 20, but I figure it might be at 16 with Pittsburgh.
Every quarterback in this draft at some level is a project.
16.
There's no clear-cut number 1 guy that you say, okay, I can turn my
20.
team over to this guy. So I think for those reasons alone, quarterbacks really shouldn't come off the board, even though I know they will. They really shouldn't come off the board until the second round, just because there's no clear-cut number 1 guy that's ready to go. Honestly, I think even Logan was talking about it. Quarterbacks really aren't going to be great until next year's draft.
Yeah, I don't think there should be a quarterback drafted in the first round. Myself,
exactly. I agree with you. I totally agree with that.
All right, what's up next, John?
All right, folks, we're going to keep this show moving right along. I got to keep the pace going before I get yelled at by management. Sleepers in the NFL draft. This is where. It's easy to kind of go to the first round, right? Because we all kind of know who should go in the first round. It gets really more interesting in the second to the 7th rounds because who knew that Tom Brady was going to be as good as he is, but yet go as late as he did. So I think really the diamonds in the rough are in the sleepers. And I'm going to make this really, really quick. I got 3 sleepers. I got Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, 6'7", 325. He did a 4.89 in the 40. He's nasty, physical, and he has a really good playing style, number 1. Number 2, Christian Watson, the wide receiver out of North Dakota State, 20 yards, 20.5 yards per catch, 800 yards and 43 catches his senior season, 7 touchdowns, 8 games, 4.36 in the 40, 6'4", 208, got height, got weight, got speed. I think he's going to be great as a sleeper. And Troy Anderson, the linebacker out of Montana State, with 150 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 picks in his senior season. Great senior season. The thing about him that makes him so sleeper is because he started out as a quarterback, then he got converted to a running back, then he got converted to a linebacker his last 2 seasons at Montana, and he runs a 4.42 40-yard dash, 6'3", 243, and he is just a beast. And I think he's really going to slip down, but I think he's going to be great. Gonzo, who's your sleepers?
I would have wide receiver from Memphis, Calvin Austin III. I think he's going to turn into a good NFL player. And he'll probably get picked lower in the draft. And also cornerback from Cincinnati, Kobe Bryant. I think a lot of people's not talking about him because you got that other good corner from Cincinnati. I think he could be one that being a good player in the league as well.
Logan? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have another one?
No, I only had those 2.
Okay. Logan?
I've got 3. I've got Bernard Raymond, offensive tackle from Central Michigan. I've got Jelani Woods, tight end from Virginia, 6'7", 260. Good size on him. And then the third one I have is Justin Ross from Clemson. Had over 1,000 yards, 50 catches as a freshman. Got hurt, unfortunately, had some injuries with his spinal cord. But if he can, he's fully recovered. So we'll see if he can reclaim some of that college goodness in the NFL.
And lastly, hey, do you have any sleepers, Rayleigh? I know I kind of threw this on you, so I know you didn't probably get a chance to research it.
I'm out here muted. So I have one. I forgot his name. He's a linebacker. I think he was out of Nevada. I think. I forgot his name. You kind of did catch my pants down here. But when I find his name, I'll bring it up. He's an athletic linebacker. He could play either a 4-3 or a 3-2 set, or 4-3 or 3-4 set. He could easily either rush you and do his thing, no problem, or can drop back in coverage. There were a couple of mock drafts that recommended the Patriots get him. Like I said, while we're going on, I'll find his name, and when I do, I'll let y'all know.
Okay, no. Is it Cole Turner? No, he's a tight end. I take that back. Never mind. All right, yeah, man. Just let me know, and we'll pick it back up from there, man. All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic. USFL scores. I'm just gonna give you the quick scores from this week. We got Michigan Panthers, man. They're doing terrible. They lost to the Generals from New Jersey, 10-6. And then you had Philadelphia beating Pittsburgh 30-23. And unfortunately, God, it sucks. Birmingham beat my Gamblers from Houston 33-28. And then New Orleans just shellacked Tampa Bay 34-3. Terrible. Gonzo, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the USFL or who your team might be, but what did you think about the recent week of scores?
I was actually going to ask you guys if you'd watched it, if it was any good. With me being in the hospital and stuff, I hadn't got to watch any of it yet.
Yeah, honestly, between keeping up with the wrestling and the NBA, I only caught the scores. I did not catch the games. Logan, did you catch the games by chance at all? I don't know if you did or not. Which is going to bring me up to my next question real quick. No, you're good. Logan, did you catch the scores at all? Or Rayleigh, did you catch the scores at all? Or the games at all from the USFL? Damn. I got radio silence. All right. Gonzo. Man, when you get radio silence, you get radio silence. Hey, listen, Gonzo, let me ask you a question.
Hold on, I'm here.
Oh, Ray.
Yeah, Logan said he'd be right back.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Ray, let me ask you a question. I'm going to assume, Ray, I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to assume that you didn't watch a damn USFL game this week. And am I correct? I didn't either.
So I tried.
Okay, so my question for you, Rayleigh, is this. It doesn't matter about the scores. Let's just put the scores to the side because it really doesn't matter. That's not really the true question here at this point in time. And Gonzo, I want you to, after Rayleigh goes, I want you to go. And then if Logan happens to chime back in, he can go. But does anybody kind of concerned that maybe the USFL really just doesn't matter, given that the NBA playoffs are going on, Major League Baseball is going on, and like kind of what I suspected, the USFL is just couldn't kind of get put off to the back burner, and just nobody really gives a damn.
Well, look, the USFL is basically fighting from underneath because I'm gonna put it to you this way: Paxton Lynch is a starting quarterback in that league. Okay, you're starting from you're an underdog immediately. Okay, it sucks to say, but come on, bro. In the NFL, will you ever see a quarterback by committee? There's a team in the USFL doing this. Do what that information is, you will. I ain't even trying to be rude, but come on, man. Again,
no, it's true. It's true. I've noticed that too.
In the league, like it's just the reality of the situation, bro. Like again, and it sucks. They just need more time where they can be able to come out, give a better product, no problem, you know. But as of right now, it's not entertaining. It's really not. watching the USFL football is the equivalent of literally watching my 3-year-old daughter and my 1-year-old son throw a ball in a trampoline. They lose their balance, they flop all over the place, and after about 2 minutes, they forget football's even a sport, and they're just out there bumbling like they're blind and like some.
I totally agree with that.
I was wondering because, like I said, I didn't get to watch any of it over the weekend. I was wondering if it was any good to watch. I have a question real quick. Do you think the XFL, since they've took longer to try to come back, you think their product will be better than USFL?
Well, I think it will be slightly better, but again, I think the reason why it's going to be better is because they're trying to change the game in different ways where it's more unique. The USFL is trying to be like the NFL, and it would work if you're partnered with them, but that's the XFL. So even if the XFL ends up being just like the NFL, at least there's a partnership, kind of like the G League. Yeah, they suck, but guess what? I know they're partnered with the NBA. So I know there's a legitimate chance that I might find the next best thing there. So that's kind of the attraction with the XFL. The USFL is trying to be its own entity, which
I get
is
that.
Okay. Yeah. But when you suck, you suck.
But let me ask you this too, Rayleigh, and Gonzo, if you know the answer to this, because I don't, and this is why I'm asking you guys a question. In terms of the XFL, when does their season start?
Next spring, right?
Yeah, I was about to say it's next spring. They haven't
so here's my question. So here's my question. They're going to start. So the XFL starts next spring, roughly about the same time as the USFL does. So let me ask you this: you're going to be watching sports during that time period. And during next spring, you're going to have baseball, you're going to have NBA playoffs, you're going to have the USFL, and you're going to have the XFL. And in my opinion, and you guys tell me what you think, and Rayleigh, I'm going to let you go first. Gonzo, I'm going to let you wrap it up. But I wanted to know, how does the USFL and the XFL, number one, compete against each other, much less now compete against you wanting to watch baseball or you wanting to watch the NBA playoffs? No matter how good your product is, how are they going to compete against the playoffs in baseball?
Well, they're not going to do that now. And if that's their idea and that's their plan and that's how they want to do it, whoever is in charge of that plan needs to be fired immediately, because you're just not going to be able to. You have a poor product with poor marketing, okay, with poor execution, you're going to get poor results. That's just the reality of the situation.
Exactly, because the USFL is already doing it. Watch it, Brady. Exactly. I just asked you, watch this, and Gonzo too. USFL is already doing it, and as you see, you're not really watching USFL. You're watching basketball, you're watching wrestling, or you're watching baseball. Same thing with Gonzo, same thing with me, and I'm sure same thing with Logan. So how is the XFL going to be any different?
Well, one thing that was different,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
One thing that was different with the XFL though too, they did when they ran it last time, which I think it would have made it if it hadn't been for the pandemic when they brought it back, was they started like the weekend after the Super Bowl, and then they were done before they were done before the NBA playoffs and all that. So they didn't. Only thing they really competed with was was going to be March Madness. Was going to be the one thing they really have to compete with.
Right, and in March Madness, let's be honest here, the entire bracket doesn't matter. No one cares. It doesn't really get exciting until the Sweet 16.
Exactly. No, I agree. It doesn't get exciting until Sweet 16.
When the XFL came back, I was watching it a bunch before the pandemic shut it down. Yeah. I was watching it on Saturday and Sundays because they'd have it Saturday, Sunday, like earlier in the day as well. And hell, there's a lot of times there ain't no other sports on at that time of day. So it was kind of nice.
And not only that, but like to think about it, man, a lot of the people in the USFL were guys who got cut from the NFL.
Exactly.
And this is another situation, the USFL, and this is the problem the USFL is going to have. Or when the XFL comes, which is in essence the NFL's G League, when guys get cut, they're going to make a stop at the XFL. And if they have success in the XFL, now the USFL is even fighting from even more of a disadvantage, because now in the NFL you have the elite guys, and the XFL you have the okay guys. What's the USFL going to have?
They'd be like a double A or a 1A team in minor league baseball is what the USFL would end up being.
And exactly. And
the way I see it happening is I think the XFL survives, but I think the USFL, just like last go around, is just going to be cut and go under. I just don't see the USFL surviving.
I can see what you think about it. Just because the thing is, think about it. Like the XFL does have support from the NFL. They're in a partnership. So if they start dying, here's a couple bucks to keep you alive. And there we go. If the USFL fails, they're on their own. And it's unfortunate, but get good, Paxton Lynch. Get good.
All right, Logan, I'm gonna let you take over this spot because you're much better at guiding through the wrestling topics than I am. So I'm gonna let you take over here, brother, and I'm just gonna comment on this part.
All right, let me get something pulled up so I don't make sure I miss nothing. Last night, it was mostly known as Randy Orton night, right? 20 years in WWE, pretty big night. So let me get everything pulled up here. All right.
By the way, while you're doing that, did anyone hear what Randy said about him being here longer than Roman Reigns?
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that too.
Dog, that was hilarious. Because I was thinking it, but then when Randy said, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I believe you. I don't think so, but I believe him. I don't think it'll be the case, but yeah, I believe him. Why not? My bad, Logan. Go ahead. My bad.
Oh, no. I have a question real quick. Go ahead. I have a question though. Why, and maybe it's just me, but I think Randy Orton is in a hell of a good shape. And I really think, I mean, is he just so far along because of his 20-year tenure that maybe he's just not ever going to be bigger than Roman Reigns because that's just not the way Vince McMahon is ever going to script it?
What do you mean by that, Jerry?
Can I be honest?
Well, go ahead. Well, I mean, I think
I know what he means. Yeah, because I think I know what he means. I'll be honest. And again, and perhaps I'm in the minority, but I think Roman Reigns is not even that big of a star. I don't even think he's as big of a star as people say, because if I go and ask somebody, quick, give me some of your favorite guys performing, Roman Reigns isn't at the top of that list. If I ask you who's the best worker, Roman Reigns isn't at the top of that list. If I ask you who's the best on the mic, Roman Reigns isn't near that list. So it's this weird disconnect where WWE wants you so bad to believe Roman Reigns is that guy. But the sad part about it is if you talk to a fan that's like that knows what they're talking about, if you go, okay, who's a great in-ring worker, you're not going to say Roman Reigns. If you say who's a great talker, you're not going to say Roman Reigns. If you ask, okay, who's a great presence, you're not going to say Roman Reigns. If you're going to ask for consistency, you're not going to go to Roman Reigns. If you're going to talk about in-ring psychology, if you're going to talk about face movements, if you're just talking about in every aspect, you're not really going to mention Roman Reigns. So I just think it's just the WWE desperately trying to push him as that. But if you really watch it, I mean, cool. He's got a couple catchphrases. I'm the head of the table and acknowledge me. And every once in a while he goes, ooh, ah, which ironically sounds like me yawning every time I see him. But outside of the WWE, they try to push him like that. But if you really watch the program, dog, I'm vibing with Riddle, bro. I don't know about Cha. I'm vibing with Riddle, bro.
I think Riddle's great.
Listen, man, I'm going to put it to you this way. My guy Akira Tozawa got married, okay? Who do you think I'm rolling with? I'm rolling with my guy who has Tamina picking him up, okay? That's my GOAT right there. I don't care what no one says. That's my GOAT right there. Okay,
I think Riddle is really good, but I also think that Seth freaking Rollins has a really good persona as well.
Oh my god, bro! Seth Rollins is phenomenal.
Yep.
Obviously, you're not going to forget about the phenomenal AJ Styles. You're not going to forget a guy like Edge who's coming back. And
Randy Orton
again. Of course, no. Like Randy Orton, there's obviously him. That me personally, this might be a hot take. I think both the Usos are better in the ring than Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that is a hot take.
I agree with that.
That might be a hot take.
Worker wise, I agree with you.
I'm talking about work rate wise, 110%. 110%. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I believe this wholeheartedly, and I know Logan's gonna kill me. He's probably gonna tell me to shut up in a minute, and I promise I will. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. If Jimmy had to retire and never come back to the ring, and they knew that in the beginning of the Thunderdome era when Jay and Roman Reigns were feuding, I promise you they're putting the belt on Jey Uso. I promise you.
And I think their other brother's going to be a star.
They would have done that.
Their brother that's in
Solo?
Sequoia. Yeah, he's going to be a star.
Jimmy or the fuck is that guy's name?
Well, the twins are Jimmy and Jay. One of them Solo.
Yeah, Jimmy and Jay.
And then that Solo Sequoia in the NXT, that's their brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be a big star. I think
My
that
fault,
dude's
Logan.
good.
Go ahead, bro. My bad, Logan.
So it's Randy Orton Appreciation Night. He comes out. You see highlights of his whole career. Yada yada yada. Riddle comes out, says, "Here, I have a surprise for you. Here comes Cody Rhodes with his ugly neck tattoo."
Such a hater.
Then here comes Seth Rollins laughing like a joker, literally. Says his best days are behind him, meaning there's a new leader. Anyways, here comes Elias or Ezekiel or whoever you want to call him this week. After that thrilling lie detector test last week, who else could forget? Kevin Owens is still a maniac, saying that Ezekiel is a liar, and basically we're setting up for a big match tonight at the for a tag match. So that's pretty much how it's going to go. The one that everyone's been clamoring for, Bianca Belair versus Sonya Deville for the women's championship in Bianca's hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee. It was a count out in 45 seconds. But then pretty much Sonya said, "Hey, we're going to do this again." And then we're getting, for whatever reason, right, we get a chair shot. Then it's a DQ. We're going to restart one more time, fellas. And then I don't know where this came from, guys, but do you remember, 2 weeks ago when Zelina and Carmella were fighting and said we're done for? We could throw all that out the window because we're back together, baby. They come out, and Bianca fights them off, beats up Deville, hits them with her finish, gets the win in a match that made me not want to watch the rest of the show. I did not care for this match. Any of y'all's thoughts before I move on? It was just
honestly,
weird and sloppy.
Yeah, to me, it just felt like they had an idea to split, the Twiddledee and Twiddledum. They had the idea, but then was like, oh, wait, we forgot we want, which is going to end up spoiling, but someone's going to come back and feud with another person, which is kind of going to affect Bianca. So it's like, we should probably thought this through. And then they kind of just brought them back. Like
I feel like they figured out they only had like maybe 2 tag teams in the women's division now, and they had to scramble. Because, I mean, there was maybe 3 at most.
Right now, it's I mean, is Natalya and Shayna Baszler still a thing?
Natalya's in NXT.
So right, but then so that's kind of a thing where it's that.
There are
Rhea
basically
Ripley
just
just
for these titles.
Right, like at this point, it's like I don't know who's. It's bizarre, bro.
Hopefully,
As
you
far
had
as the match, the timing of it just seemed a little off.
I'm about to say Sonya hasn't wrestled like 2 years though, so it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Afterwards, basically, Zelina and Carmella arguing whose fault was it, and then Sonya slapped the taste out of both their mouths.
Oh, it was nice. I loved it.
I'd say Jay loves a good cat fight.
I do love a good cat. I absolutely. Question: Elias and Ezekiel, are they really the same person, or are they completely different?
Yes, Jay. No, Jay. They're completely different. They're actually. There's photos of them on Twitter.
Jay, you didn't see the picture. You didn't see that picture on Twitter where it showed Elias and Ezekiel.
Yeah, Jay, they're totally different.
Photo. Dude,
well, that's why I'm asking, damn it, because I've never seen Elias, so I don't know. I mean, okay, so they're different. They're the same guy, but I saw one had a beard, had longer hair.
No, they're different. They're different. Ezekiel told you that's his brother.
Fred, I hate you. Yes, Jay, we're gonna pull back the curtain. Ezekiel is just Elias with a shaved beard and some really crappy ring attire. That's about it.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
All right. We get the emo section of the night with Edge and Damian Priest being all dark and gloomy and hating life, saying, AJ Styles, you're not cool, pretty much. They're going to continue that fight for a later day. He's not there because of an arm injury. Finn Balor, meanwhile, gets to get fed to the Lions later on tonight. Up next, we have Veer Mahaan versus local jobber number 43. Easy win for Veer, not much to say.
Out of here. You did not say local jobber number 43. Logan,
sorry,
I love
his name
you
is
so much,
his
brother.
real name is Sam Smothers.
No.
Sam Smothers.
From now on for Veer Mahaan, that's what we're doing. It's local jobber number and then whatever number it is. We should have a countdown for Braun Strowman.
Okay,
bro.
if we're really looking at numbers, this is right. Local jobber number 3.
Because there really is. Like the Veer Mahaan, they're giving them all the basic wrestlers.
Oh yeah, Jay, you're never going to see these guys again in your life, probably. So that's how you build up guys.
Jay,
On the
Yeah, I was gonna
independent
say,
shows
that's
I do,
usually build
they
them
keep-
up.
every time they keep bringing Russians out there, that's why I'll say this is Russian number 378. Or I've said like
Yeah,
six
Because
or
every
seven
time
times
Beer
to some of our
Mahan goes up
commentators
against
saying,
somebody, it's always somebody that nobody ever knows about.
That's the point, though, is that
Okay.
you're not supposed to
Well,
care about the
that's
other
what
person.
they do. Right, because exactly, like it just gets you invested in the other. They did the same thing with Braun Strowman. They did the same thing with Rusev. That they just do that to
They're
big
doing that
up
with
the
Wardlow,
like to hype them up.
yeah.
God bless.
Like, yeah, you're
Wardlow,
not
man.
supposed
God
to.
bless him.
You know who's going to win, so why even put out someone on the roster? Pretty much.
Exactly.
Like
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right, like if you know the guy's name before the match, like you're part of the problem type of stuff. Like that's the
Oh,
type
yeah.
of guy that they're trying to like have out there.
And he always is a match with that spine breaker type move or whatever.
Yeah, hits him with the camel clutch maneuver,
Yeah.
the like kind of weird version of it, but either way, gets the win. Up next, the second most intriguing gimmick in wrestling, next to a blindfold match or on a pole, we have arm wrestling with Omos and Bobby Lashley. It's arm wrestling. They wouldn't really care.
No.
It's arm wrestling. The table got crushed over Lashley over and over. Pretty much, I want this to end already. Anyone else in favor? They're having a match at the pay-per-view, but
Can I be honest?
does anyone care?
I
I
actually
like
do.
it. I think putting MVP with them is a great
I
idea.
like MVP with them, but I don't care to watch arm wrestling. I don't care for it.
No,
Maybe because
you're
I'm just
wrong.
scarred. Maybe because
Yeah,
I'm scarred, guys. I'm gonna reveal some trauma. So back in my youth, when I first started watching wrestling, my very first show I went to, the main event that night was a Punjabi arm wrestling match with the Great Khali and Triple H. And ever since then, I've hated arm wrestling.
I remember that.
Sorry, you do.
I understand your frustration. The only problem I had with it, in all honesty, was the fact that they were hyping it up as the main event. If you just gave it to me in the middle of the show, just silent, just say, by the way, here's a Punjabi arm wrestling match, which is it's the same thing as a arm wrestling match. You just got a guy who's Punjabi and speaks Punjab, but at the same time, the Great Khali can't speak. Like the dude sounds like he's like an alcoholic. You guys not feeling that? The dude sounds like Peter when he had a mixed stroke when he ate all like the cheeseburgers, bro. Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
Bro, but that's just it's just weird, man. Like when you call that the main event, that's the bad taste. If you just slip it in, like for instance, I don't know about you, Scott Steiner versus Triple H in that arm wrestling match, brother me softly, because that was it. Like Triple H is trying as hard as he can. Scott Steiner looks up.
You know
smiling.
that was pride.
Like,
That was the
bro,
case. And I wish we had like a
Bro.
video clip of it. Of big meaty men
Dude.
slapping meat.
Bro, yeah, yo, what? That right there is big. Yo, Montez meat bumping forward. I was screaming as a kid, brother. I was screaming. But like
Keeping it
that, I
going
don't
with-
mind.
As
long as it's not the main event, though.
We get our weekly 24/7 title tournament, whatever the hell's going on. We get R-Truth, who everyone loves. He's now a marriage counselor, as we know, and he's a guest referee, so he's got some certificates to show. We then get Akira Tozawa and Tamina versus Dana Brooke and Reggie with R-Truth as the guest referee. The winner of the match was Akira Tozawa after he hit a backsplash with an I love you to Tamina in a minute and a half. After the match, though, Tozawa throws Dana down and covers her. R-Truth breaks it up, rolls Dana up for 2, counting himself. This is for the title now. Dana leaves while shouting that she trusted you, and thank God that was over in a short amount of time. And anyone want to comment on that?
I loved it because when Dana Brooke started screaming, "I trusted you," it reminded me. I think it was when Charlotte was wrestling. I think it was Bailey, and the hard cam zoomed in her face. She's like, "You will never beat me, never." And like when Dana Brooke said, "I trusted you," it gave me that type of vibe. So so I was a little ecstatic. I don't know about you guys. I love it because, and I'm gonna get some hate on this, but they try so hard to take wrestling serious that like when you have these couple segments that are funny, I like it. You don't see Reggie trying to do too much. Akira Tozawa's just having fun. R-Truth, you give that dude. This dude could be like Perry Saturn. You give him a mop, he'll make it work. Like,
Also, yesterday that was an actual thing. So, and Jay, just for some history, someone's whole gimmick was that he had too many concussions from chair shots, so he became best friends with a mop that he drew a Sharpie face on. Gotta love wrestling.
Oh, how funny is that?
Which eventually became his true love. True story. This is
we'll show you videos at a later date.
Yeah, we will. But like, I liked it. It was nice. It was fun. And what I liked about it was that it was a funny spot. Fact check me if I'm wrong. I think that was after the arm wrestling match. So like, let's say you had a poor taste in your mouth from it. If you were upset with it, you now had like a little comedy thing right after, which would kind of alleviate some of your discontent and be able to have a laugh and say, okay, well look, they're not taking this seriously. This is just like a funny spot match, something to have like comedic spots here and there. So honestly, I loved it. And R-Truth, what a goat, man. What a goat.
Up next, we've got a very depressed Becky Lynch without the title coming out on Raw. First time we've seen her since Mania, so it's been quite a while. She's depressed, basically saying that, time to get our comeback going. But then we get Asuka returning after how many months? Like 9 months or something? It's been a long time. So she comes back. Yeah. She says something in Japanese. No one knows what it's saying. And then she says she'll beat up Becky and stop her. Then looks like we're going to get a match for them at the pay-per-view, if I had to guess, on May 8th, which is about a week and a half away?
Yeah, we're not too far away from that.
So we're getting close. Let's see. Up next, we get a recap looking at the Street Profits, how they distracted RK Bro with the Usos theme song the previous week. We get a match with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. The winner of that is Damian Priest getting the win in about 7 or so minutes. Pretty decent match. Finn Balor has been losing a lot recently. How did you guys feel about this match?
So, personally, I liked it. I'm a big Finn Balor dude, but I think this is going to work as a double-sided coin. What I mean by that is he just lost the United States title. He's probably going to go on a three-match losing streak. He's going to go take some time off, come back. He's going to be reinvigorated, and then he's either going to go for the IC title or he's going to end up going for the WWE Universal World Heavyweight Longevity title, or whatever the was, bumblefuck. Michael Cole wants to scream into my ear holes. But I think he's going to end up doing that. Honestly, what I hope, you bring him back to NXT and make him as the Demon again. Like, I don't understand why you put that on the shelf, because there's been multiple times where you could have brought it out to give him a win. The last time we saw the Demon, I think it was a few years ago at SummerSlam, when it was the Demon King versus Eye Contact Bobby Lashley. Like, that's what I call it, because he had the eye contact that changes eye color. So, like, I think the best move would be for you to go center into NXT, especially with NXT is all bright and vibrant. You now got a Demon who can kind of, flip it over. And we are seeing veterans hop over there. Right. Well,
we love the bright and vibrancy of Braun Breaker and his father being kidnapped and really weird paranormal stuff going on. Anyways, back to shows that people actually care for. We have Monday Night Raw. We got the Miz in the ring. We got the new U.S. Champ Theory coming out. They have a nice little chat about, I watched you growing up. You're finally bringing some prestige back to this title. Then we get another return in the back-to-back segments. We get Mustafa Ali, who has been seen in probably even longer than Asuka.
They did that
pretty much, Jay. They were
to release him.
Yeah, he was wanting to get released. They said no. That was like a legit thing. And now they're bringing it into the show, saying that looks like weren't you trying to leave, and we thought you were gone. All this stuff. And basically that sets up a match for the next segment. We get Miz versus Ali. The winner of that in the return is Ali after a roll-up in about 6 or so minutes. What do you guys think of the match?
I think Ali getting the win in his return. I thought it was unfair because they kind of booked him a little weak, where they basically tried to make it seem like it was a fluke. I felt like having Ali come back, you should have capitalized on it. It's wild to forget the respect they used to put on Mustafa Ali. The Money in the Bank that Brock Lesnar won, where he was walking around with it with a boombox, we forget Ali was supposed to win that. They didn't tell him until
I mean,
what,
to
45
be fair,
minutes
Pride, he
before-
would have won if he didn't spend 45 seconds staring at the ramp and would have just opened the briefcase. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but if Brock Lesnar
I'm just saying.
bitch ass didn't come out, who cares? But excuse my French, I'm sorry. But for me, it just comes down to, I wish they let Ali hit the 054 or give him like another impact move. Like remember when Daniel Bryan was doing his whole the Yeso-Mania thing, and I think it was at SummerSlam, he debuted the running knee to John Cena or whatever. Like give him like an impact move or something to do it on a roll up. To me, or if you're gonna do a roll up, at least name it, bro. We got Xavier Woods doing a roll up. You're calling it backwards. Like,
That's pretty dope.
for me, it's a poor taste when you just say, "Oh, he rolled him up," and it's like, dude, he just came back. Give him something, because in 3 months you're gonna forget about him and you're gonna do him dirty again. So just give him something. You know what I mean? I'm glad he won. I just wish it wasn't a roll up. Hit him with a Skull Crusher finale. Whatever Austin Theory does. Oh, the Theorinator, whatever you want to call it. Have him do that to set up a feud. Let him hit Miz with it, pin him, and him staring Austin Theory down. Like, I don't know. I just felt like they just threw him out there and gave him a win to shut him up. That's kind of the vibe I got from it.
Well, and then after the match, looks like we're setting up another feud. Tommaso Ciampa, who now has a new name of just Ciampa because we hate first names in this company, attacked Ali, who also used to have just one name. So there's the correlation of why they are feuding.
You have one name and I don't. I hate you. Jesus Christ.
Pretty much. I think those would be some good matches, though. We
100%.
take a look at Rhea
either
Ripley
drops
beating
him
up
or
Liv
gains.
Morgan. What's up?
No, I was gonna say like their feud is gonna be like it's gonna be like a name feud. So like if
Oh, yeah, that'd be
Ciampa
great.
wins, if he loses, he's now Tommaso Ciampa. Mustafa Ali loses, he's now just Ali again, or just Mustafa. Like
There we go. We get Rhea Ripley coming out saying that talk about why she beat up Liv Morgan. But here's Liv Morgan to start a brawl. We're going to continue this feud going on for a little bit longer. Up next, we see Alpha Academy's trying to get Kevin Owens to pay because he just did not want to pay him the money. Seth Rollins comes out saying there's more important things to discuss. Owens doesn't think much of Rollins, but he says the Usos saying we're on the same page of Roman, they won't be happy. Rollins laughs and says they are all left alone. Take a look back at the arm wrestling match. Then we get the setup for Omos and Lashley one more time at WrestleMania Backlash. And then we get the main event of RK Bro, Ezekiel, and Cody Rhodes. What a team against the Usos, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens. Good back and forth match. Longest match on the show. We get the end with, of course, an RKO for Randy Orton for the win in about 15 or so minutes. And the crowd go home happy. What'd y'all think of this main event match?
I love the main event. I did. I love the main event. I thought RK Bro did their thing. Riddle obviously, suffered at the very beginning, but really came on strong. And Randy Orton really had a good, strong physical presence in the match. Usos did a good job, but ultimately, it was Riddle that got the pin. But man, good match, I thought.
Crowd went home happy. Randy hit all of his hits and went home. So good match, best match on the show.
Yep.
What do you think of the show overall? I thought it was pretty good. Wasn't like A+ or nothing, but it was all right. I didn't have too much trouble getting through it. It picked up after the first hour for sure.
I mean, like I said, I thought it was the best Raw we've seen in a while. And there were a couple rough spots, sure, but it was palatable. Like the roughest of the rough was palatable, right? Like I think we all agree the whole Bianca Belair situation I think was like the worst part of Raw. But again, like I said, it was palatable. It was confusing, sure, but it wasn't like anything ridiculous. You know what I mean? I thought it was solid, overall.
I would give them Monday Night Raw. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I thought there was some low points with some high points. I'm gonna give it a B+. I just think the women's challenges were kind of the arm wrestling thing kind of hurt it a little bit, in my opinion. But I give it about a B+. Gonzo, what you got?
Well, I'm actually watching it now. But from what I've seen of it, I've liked it, really liked it so far. The women's match wasn't real great, but other than that, I've liked all the other stuff that I've seen.
Logan?
All right. Yeah, like I said, pretty decent. I'll give it a solid B. But overall, pretty good show overall. I liked it, and we'll see if they can continue this trend next week. Who knows? I think
if Pride was here, he'd probably agree with you on the same thing.
But Pride's phone died, unfortunately.
Hey, it happens. It happens, man. Hey, unfortunately, we have come to the end of this show. And real quick update on the scores. You got Atlanta at 73. Miami at 79 with 8:34 left to go in the fourth. And you got Minnesota at 75. Memphis at 64 with 3:31 left to go in the third. Damn if Minnesota don't win this and tie it up. How crazy is that going to be, folks?
We'll see. We will see.
All right. Hey, final thoughts. Gonzo, any final thoughts?
No, not really. Go and watch some basketball once this roll's over. I couldn't watch it last night, so I had to watch it today.
No, I feel you. That's kind of how I was. Logan, final thoughts?
Yeah, excited to see how the Kevin Durant Charles Barkley feud continues. They've been throwing jabs at each other, so
yeah, they have been. I've seen that.
We'll see how that goes. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see. Number one, if Minnesota ties up the series with Memphis. If so, oh my God, it's anybody's series. And if Memphis goes down to Minnesota, man, how crazy would that be? And Atlanta. You know, I hate to tell you, Logan, I don't think they're going to survive Miami. I think Miami's going to kill the series tonight at 4-2. But, hey, there was a good shot, though, by Atlanta. They did the best they could. Until Thursday, like I said, live draft Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will kick off the pre-draft show. At 8 o'clock, we will actually commence the start of the draft. And Unscripted will cover the first 10 picks. And then ASAP Sports Network will continue picks 11 through 32. And until next time, it's your boy, Jay McLovin, our boy Gonzo from Gonzo Sports Room, and Logan, Babyface Landers, bringing up the tailhead. Y'all have a good night, man. We're out of here.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces.